Guys, what's going on? It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys, man. Here we are on a Thursday. I hope you guys have had a good week, Guys, I'll drop the link early, right? Because I know that a lot of you guys are chomping at the bit to talk about this topic, right? Here we are, guys. Let's see. Yeah, guys. Laughing Man, what's up, dude? Where'd you put that link, Laughing Man? Did you send it to me in Discord? Let me see. But yeah, guys, I guarantee a whole bunch of the millionaires and billionaires are getting out of New York, man. Straight up. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Is it in politics? Hold on. I'll have to look and see. I'll have to find it. Yeah, guys. Guys, New York is absolutely cooked, right? Hey, guys, I'm glad. Yeah. Ain't did nothing. Yeah. Guys, I don't want Orange Man to take away the funding. I don't want him to interfere. I want this dunderhead who got elected to have the most amount of support as anyone else. So when it blows up in New Yorkers' faces, they can realize that it was their fault. Let me see. Real Strict. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Virginia, dude. Kelvin, what's up, dude? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Keyshawn, what's up, dude? Let's see who else is here. Dante's here. Quentin's here. Tim Hicks is here. Corpse Dystopia, what's up, dude? Red Door's here. Steve's here. Let me see. Who else do we have? Richard Brown's here. DTM's here. Brian's here. Good to see you guys, man. Sorry, Officer is here. He says the left thinks that we're mad about him winning. All it's going to do is prove us right. Facts. Facts, guys. Absolute facts. Because this is going to give all of us so much content to watch. It's so much for me to laugh at, react to, Snowboard, are you shocked that Dunderhead got elected? Snowboard?
Oh. No. He ran a really good campaign ad. Like his media people were on point. He had like pretty good commercials and whatnot. So I'm not surprised he won. And it's like you guys are saying, it is good. Like this is their bed, now sleep in it. You know what I mean? So like the only way to really let these people change their mind is watch it fail.
Yeah.
We kind of have to go through that process.
Did you guys see the whole thing about his transition video where he's already asking for money? I thought he was going to make the rich pay for it. Yeah, guys, we'll talk about all this. But first, guys, let's break some news. Let me pin the link, guys. Anyone who wants to come on up, guys, we'll have a large panel. Okay, so guys, let's do this real fast. Here we go. Let me share my screen, because you guys know that Section 8's cooked, right? It's cooked. Watch.
Oh, good evening. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. We're going to begin in Pine Bluff. That's where a low-income apartment complex that has housed city residents since 1969 is closing its doors. Families who called the St. John Apartments home are now scrambling to find new accommodations after the Department of Housing and Urban Development failed to renew the property's Section 8 contract. Channel 7's Tyree White visited the apartments today, and he joins us now live in the studio with the reasons why. Tyree.
Chris, on October 27th, people living in St. John's apartments got this letter on their doors. It tells them that because the owners failed to comply with HUD rules and regulations, they'll have to move out. I went today to talk to residents, but no one would talk on camera, and the property
I guarantee that the property people would rather take the loss and shut the place down than have to worry about if Section 8 is going to be viable still, you know?
manager asked me to leave. In a letter to residents of St. John, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD for short, notified residents that the department would not renew St. John's Section 8 contract, which expired in June. That agreement is what allows the government to pay part of a tenant's rent directly to the landlord on behalf of low-income families. In the letter, HUD says they're not renewing the contract because of the owner's failure to comply with HUD rules and regulations. Because of the government shutdown, HUD is currently closed, so we couldn't find out exactly what rules and regulations weren't followed. But the department does post inspection results. HUD properties are inspected routinely on the appearance of the property and its safety.
Yeah, right.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
You guys see some of those slums that they call, Section 8 housing. Come on, dude.
You're growing weed and everything. Yeah.
Look, sorry, officer says it's not hood, it's HUD.
Yeah, I know.
Yo, that's a good one, dude.
Before 2023, the department used the REACT system, which scored more on the appearance of a property. Any score below 60 is considered failing. St. John apartment score, released in 2023, was 61C,
Damn.
1 point above the failing mark. The department's new scoring system, Inspire, focuses more on health and safety.
See?
We couldn't find an inspection score from that system.
Of course not.
St. John's property manager told us the apartments were owned by Millennia Companies, who owns over 200 properties across the country. Many of those are HUD housing. In 2023, HUD found almost $5 million in missing or misappropriated money from 19 Millennia properties.
Of course they did, right,
Yep.
guys? Of course they did.
Health and convenience.
$5 million. Look at Old Fox says it's hard to do maintenance with Fendi heads and pit bulls roaming around. Facts. Guys, make sure to hit the like on the way in. I appreciate that, guys. Guys, drop $1 or $2 in the super chats, guys. I'm trying to soundproof my office/studio here, so every bit helps, you know. Thanks to all you guys that already donate, especially all you members. You know what I'm saying? Guys, I'm going to drop some more members-only content. I think I'm going to get Snowboard and a couple of other guys to do some fireside chats for you guys where we can actually sit and talk about some serious stuff, you know, and that'll be members only. So, yeah, guys, make sure you are subscribed. So, guys, here's another one. Here you go. She can get it, you know?
Damn. Yeah.
I smash, you know?
Horrible car crash with a couple trapped in the wreckage. Cops investigated it as an accident until the boyfriend woke up in the hospital.
Wait for it.
What they say he told them is shocking, accusing his girlfriend of intentionally crashing their car in a jealous rage.
Look at that.
Wow. Again.
I think someone posted the body cam footage in the Discord. Hold on. We can look at this at the end of the stream.
I guess she was really crashing out.
Hey-o! Yeah. I think someone put that in the 51304s, right? I think so. Where the chick crashed the car with her boyfriend in the car. I thought I saw it earlier today.
Yeah, the chick was fine, and like everyone.
Yeah. If someone knows what I'm talking about, post it in. Is it in suggestions? Hold on. Post it
Probably
there, guys.
3 or 4 months ago.
No. It was just posted. I think it was either earlier today. Yeah, someone just posted something like this. Whoever you are, if you did it, post it again. So, anyways, I digress.
Les Trent has the details.
A young couple has been in a horrible
This is it. This is it. Yeah.
car accident. Police say this Honda was going 95 miles an hour before it slammed into a thicket of mangrove trees. 24-year-old Leah Mumby is screaming for help. She believes her boyfriend, 22-year-old Daniel Waterman, is dead.
Please. Yeah, but believe all women, right? Look at that, guys.
Wow.
That's what a joke.
Wake up, please! Daniel, wake up!
Leah is not aware that Daniel's iPhone has automatically called 911.
The owner of this iPhone was in a severe car crash and is not responding to their phone.
Daniel took the brunt of the crash, sitting in the passenger seat.
Of course he did, right, guys? Of course. Anytime that these chicks ever get mad at anything, all of a sudden it's, I'ma kill your bitch ass, bitch!
Suffering a broken neck and back. Doctors put him in a medically induced
And
coma.
usually the
At
woman
first,
will
police
walk
thought it
away
was
just fine somehow.
Of course. Whoever you are that posted
The evil
this,
one will always be fine.
yeah, let me know. Because I swear I saw this earlier today in the Discord. It was literally saying woman tries to delete her boyfriend, and it shows this exact car and everything. So, guys, let me know if you can find it. All right, cool.
Tragic accident. But then, in a moment straight out of a movie, when Daniel Waterman woke from the coma, he told them it was not an accident. He couldn't speak, but with the help of a special letterboard, he
Oh, yeah, just keep watching it.
all he could do,
Oh, my
all he
God.
could do was make sounds with his mouth, and he said,
slowly printed out a tale that has heads spinning. His girlfriend, he wrote, tried to kill him. He communicated that Leah had just told him she was pregnant.
He messed him
He
up.
said she was also jealous about texts he'd received from another woman. Then he literally spelled out for them that Leah drove off the highway and slammed into the trees on purpose.
Damn.
I don't care what happens, you'll get what you deserve,
Look
he
at
quoted
that,
her as
guys.
saying.
Oh, my
After
God.
8 months of battling to stay alive, Daniel died. I spoke to his mother and aunt.
It was something that was so heartbreaking as a mom. It's like, how could someone do this to my...
We now confront
He saw it.
Leah Mumby was arrested as she arrived at the hospital to visit Daniel.
Look at that!
The charge,
Has the balls to go and visit him too. Guys,
Wow.
female drivers, no survivors, dude. Look at that, guys. Hit the like button
Wow.
on the way in, guys.
vehicular homicide.
There's no doubt in my mind that it was anything but an intentional accident.
Leah Mumby has pleaded not guilty to vehicular homicide. She reportedly told cops she didn't remember anything leading up to that crash.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Look at that,
Yeah,
guys.
right.
Look at that. All right, guys. We'll do one more thing, and then we will get onto the topic here. Here you go, guys. Now, guys, if there's one thing that I can't stand is roller coasters, all these amusement park rides. I hate them, guys. I can't stand them. Like I don't like heights. I don't like, no way. But guys, and this is why. Watch.
The state fire marshal's office investigating tonight after 2 girls were thrown from a Ferris wheel and another was stuck.
Damn.
Good evening and welcome to 9 News at 10. I'm Dion Guillory. All this happened at the New Roads Harvest Festival. But as Riley Kramer reports, the girls were dumped out of that cart from about 15 feet in the air.
Those screams of excitement quickly turned into screams of terror during the second day of the annual New Roads Harvest Festival.
Yeah, I'll probably never get on another Ferris wheel.
Investigators say 2 young girls were ejected from the Ferris wheel onto a steel platform below. Eddie Jones bought tickets for the next ride.
And I heard a girl scream, and I looked over, and the Ferris wheel, the car was kinked over. I don't know how it got in that position, but it was stuck.
Jones says he saw 2 girls with blood on them, and another girl was stuck in the cart about 15 feet in the air. The sheriff tells us one of the girls had to be airlifted to a Baton Rouge hospital.
Like to fall, how far they fell, it was bad.
It was absolutely crazy, man.
It was bad.
Ronald Brasso and his friends were on the Ferris wheel the night before. He says he didn't feel safe.
But it was cracking. They need to take this down.
Brasso believes the hinges.
Yeah, but why would you put your life in the hands of a bunch of carnies anyways, right? You know what I'm saying?
Meth heads. Yeah.
Guys, here we go. Guys, this is the best news that you guys will hear all day as taxpayers. Watch.
Nearly 5 million SNAP recipients will not get any benefits in November under the White House's plan to comply with a court order.
Let's go! Right, guys? Right? Guys, I'm going to do a video on this chick who has the nerve to complain about what she got from the food bank. Matter of fact, I might show that here in a second.
Department of Agriculture says it would issue partial benefits this month by tapping into the emergency fund, but some families getting assistance make too much money to get the partial benefits, according to new analysis. The court also gave the USDA the option of shifting other money to SNAP to enable it to pay full benefits in November, but the agency declined, citing risks to other nutrition programs. For those who will get SNAP benefits, it will likely be cut in half. Well, News' Lindsay Sablon took a look at the impact that's having on families right before the holidays.
Yeah, just terrible timing. She's live at Second Harvest Food Bank, where the community is really stepping up, Lindsay.
And as you can see right behind me, this radio station's positioned out here. They have been live out here since 6 o'clock this morning, broadcasting, asking for the community to come out and donate food. And if you can, if you're home watching right now, they'll be here for 2 more hours. But as I saw earlier today, as quickly as that food comes in, it goes right back out because the need is so great. Vegetables, milk, and meat, all essentials you need to live on, handed out by these volunteers at Inca in Orlando.
We are poor. They have to think a little bit in the poor people.
We are poor. Dios mío.
75-year-old
Now, guys, here.
Tarsis Milano is just one of hundreds who showed up to this food drive on Thursday. She was reluctant to speak at first, but opened up to help everyone understand the desperation right now.
The room.
She doesn't even look. Guys, these people haven't missed any meals. Guys, what are you talking about? Now, guys, here. You know what? Check this out, guys. Look at this. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Guys, watch this, okay? Yes. Get ready for this. Because as bad as New York is going to be, you'll see a lot of New Yorkers trying to eat this. But guys, watch how entitled and spoiled and dunderheaded this chick is. Watch.
I'm probably going to catch shit for this, but I just really don't care. My husband just got back from the food bank, and I want to show y'all what they gave us for a family of 8. Mind you, SNAP benefits are being cut. They have been cut. They're not being funded right now. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind.
Watch.
So this is what we have for a family of 8. This is supposed to feed us for 3 days, 8 people. So we did get a loaf of bread. It's not expired, so that's good. These beans, I have no idea how to cook beans like this. I guess I'll learn. Whole dates, no idea how to use these or like what they even taste like.
You just eat it out of like how it is, you idiot.
1 box of macaroni. Got the cans. I don't know. It's like a frozen peach thing. We've got a bunch of these in the fridge. Nobody's really touched them. I also have no idea how to use this, but
it's salami, you goof. What are you talking? What are you talking about? You cut it up and you eat it, you absolute dunderhead.
You stupid woman.
And it's free food. It's free. Guys, this is how dumb these morons are. Can you imagine? This guy's married to a chick that doesn't even know how to. Guys, hold on here. Let me save the rest of my commentary until the end, okay?
Figured out. This is the real kicker for me, is that these 3 things are expired. This is a loaf of bread. I don't know how it's not molded because it went out like last month. There's this, nothing. And then fish that there's no air in the bag, so that indicates that there's a hole in it and the bacteria has gotten into it. I have no concept of how to cook these.
There's no air in the bag. That's a good thing. Because air makes it go bad. Guys, whoever this guy is married this chick. She doesn't even know how to cook.
He doesn't know how to cook anything.
One-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. What is Lenny? What's up, dude? Mr. W says they're really stupid facts. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button, guys. You know.
You should chime in. Just eat the packaging. Like,
hold on, guys. Did I drop my thing on accident? I gotta do one thing first. Yeah, but guys, like, how hard is this? You know, this is not difficult at all. One second.
For dinner tonight, you're having fish and beans. It's really not like that bad.
Or like some peanut butter, and you have bread.
But they're bad anyway. It's for family bait. It's supposed to feed us for 3 days. Mind you, government's shut down, and we're not getting food stamps. And no, we're not just sitting on our ass doing nothing.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
We're trying. Don't hear what I'm not saying, okay? I'm thankful for the help. I'm thankful that there's something out there. I've said for a long time that there's issues with food banks. They're not providing enough food for the size of families.
It's free food. What are you talking about, guys? Hold on. So before we go into this other, guys, I want everyone in this chat right now to let me know how long you can feed yourself on this amount of food, guys. How long can you feed yourself on a loaf of bread, a bunch of beans, some dates, mac and cheese, canned corn, beans, 2 cans of tuna, beans, fish.
Big bag of fish is pretty good.
The cereal. Guys, I can feed myself for over a month with this. Easy. And I'm 6'3". What is she talking about? All I need is a big thing of peanut butter and I'm chilling. Look at this. Absolutely insane. People said weeks, few weeks, 2 weeks. Someone says 2 months. Someone says 2 to 3 weeks. Michael says peanut butter and bread, ramen, cereal, milk. Don't eat 3 times a day. Facts.
Yeah.
What a joke. What an absolute joke. And look, from the size of her, she needs to be cutting down her portion sizes anyways. You know what I'm saying? Well, this is her little follow-up.
How does she not know how to heat up a piece of fish?
I don't understand.
Like, I don't really know how to cook this. It's like, how do you know how to cook anything?
Look.
I've said for a long time that there's issues with food banks. They're not providing enough food for the size of families. They're not adjusting for the size of families like they need to. It almost feels like insulting, though, that there are dessert cakes without any filling.
She says it feels insulting that there's dessert cakes with no filling on the inside.
Jesus.
Somebody
man.
fucking say something. Guys, I try to not swear in these streams, but guys, what is going on? What is going on? Just free food. There's homeless veterans that haven't eaten
That is
in
someone.
weeks.
I'm not surprised he says that.
What a joke.
She's got
Look at
7
that,
kids,
guys.
so she's used to a cream filling.
All right, guys, let's read some of these comments here. Look, see someone says, you pronounce thank you wrong. Facts. With background noise there. Had music. Mute you, buddy. And someone says, at what point in those 6 pregnancies did you decide that you couldn't afford to feed all those kids? Someone says, so you have a family of 8, you collect food stamps, you've never learned how to cook dry beans or eaten food past the sell date? You're not that poor. You are a professional complainer. Facts. Someone says the purpose of a food bank is to supplement, not to be a full-on grocery haul. Facts. Someone says this literally makes me not want to donate a single thing to anyone.
Exactly,
Guys, put a 1 if you agree, right? Put a 1 if you agree. This is why I don't donate a damn thing. People go, oh, well, AJ, snowboard, sea grip, Old Fox, John Carlo, you guys need to donate to a charity, please.
Listen, I don't know what the fuck you saying, but all I know, you ain't getting a motherfucking dime.
Clown world. Someone says, I watched the whole video. You, my dear, are acting like a spoiled brat. That's a good haul. You can make meals from that. Sounds like you've been buying ready-made processed food. Facts. Now's your opportunity to really learn how to cook and make things stretch. Look at that. Someone says, I just volunteered the last 4 hours of my night at a food bank, lifting boxes and bagging produce. My back is killing me. I log on, and this is the first thing that I see. Look at that. Someone says, wow, dessert cake fillings. Dessert cakes with no fillings. How awful for you. Look at that, guys. They're demons, man. Absolute
now you know why.
demons.
Now you know why I stopped donating and helping women. I stopped it.
Yeah, there's no point.
I only donate and help men now.
Yeah. Now, guys, anyone who wants to call in, guys, hit the StreamYard button. That's pinned at the top. And guys, Secret, I know Snowgrip had to take a call really, really fast. But how do you feel about Mom Kami getting arrested? I mean, elected. Sorry.
Elected. You know something? Sometimes it's very hard to not. It's like you already know how this is going to play out.
Yeah. Yep.
And it is sometimes very hard. I like to say that I don't wish anyone ill will. I want everyone to do well. And even if I know things are going to turn out poorly, I don't want to be right. But this is one of those situations where, and I play the clip I just sent you. This would be the perfect way. Play that clip I just sent you.
Here we go. Let me go to the private chat here. 1 second.
This is the reason why everyone doesn't deserve the right to vote.
This one here, I can't because of copyright.
Okay.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, they get you good, so I can't.
So, when you get a chance, just Google, Game of Thrones democracy, and so in that clip, Sam Otali is when they're trying to decide who's going to be the next king. He was saying, the king just doesn't represent, the lords and ladies of the land. They represent everyone, and so everyone should have a vote. And everyone just started cracking up. It was like dead silence for 10 seconds, and then everyone just cracked up laughing. Like, look, I'll give as a matter of fact, I'm gonna give my horse deserves a vote. As a matter of fact, my dog should vote.
But here's the thing, guys. Guys, let me know if do you believe that everyone in the United States should be able to vote? Because criminals can't vote, your felons can't vote. In some states, illegals can. You know what I mean? It's the way that they're showing things now. But hold on. So, guys, I honestly think that we need to fix the voting system to where you need to have like either own property or have X amount of money in the bank or X amount of money invested or have served in the military to vote. You have to have something that shows that you in the game. Yes, thank you. See what you were saying?
Personally, we should do, I think, what's it, the Israeli army, where everyone has to serve at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Because from high school, got to serve 2 years. Personally, I think we need to go to that type of system.
Yeah.
Where
me too.
In order to qualify, in order to be able to vote, serve in elected office, or to work and be a government employee, or to apply for governmental assistance, bare minimum, you should either have to serve 2 years active duty or 4 years in reserves or National Guard or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because right now, what's happening in New York, how can I put this? You literally had all these people voting because that's what politics has come down to.
Yeah.
Promising to give you a whole bunch of free stuff at the expense of those that are productive.
Yep.
And I think and fact check me, but I was looking at something online where it was saying that 45 or 46% of taxes that are paid in New York are paid by the top 1%.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
yeah. Matter of fact, here I have a TikTok about that. Hold on, you just reminded me. Let me see. But yeah, other people are saying the same thing, that we need to change the voting system. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Guys, make sure to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Thanks to all the new. Here you go. Here you go.
You can't make this up.
Congratulations, New York. You just elected a man who promised that he was going to pay all your bills using the money from anyone who makes over $1 million a year. So before we fast forward to the oops, we're broke part of this story, let's talk some numbers. Currently, there are roughly 80 to 90,000 millionaires that live in New York City and about 125 billionaires. And between those two groups, they already cover about 48% of all of the city income taxes.
Look at that.
But now Mom Donnie would like to jack up their taxes another 2%, as well as hike up corporate rate taxes on top of it. And y'all are all out here thinking that he sounds like Robin Hood. But here's what's actually happening. 10 to 15% of those millionaires are already planning to leave. Another 10 to 15% of the billionaires are shifting residency or moving operations out of the city.
Yep.
And another 3 to 5% of major companies are preparing to relocate entirely.
That's true.
Sorry, I left my crayons at home for this one. But that is a guesstimated $1.3 to $2.4 billion in lost tax revenue every single year. And when that money walks out the door, the city is not going to be chasing the rich. It's going to be chasing you. Because when the top leaves, the bill always trickles down. So when your rent starts to climb and your city taxes rise and your grocery bill goes up again, it's not because the rich got greedier. It's because your mayor ran the investors, the jobs, and the tax base out of town. And the only thing that's left to tax them is you.
It's true. Now, guys, here's the thing. I watched a video and it was saying why this could be a disaster. Guys, 80 to 88% of all the billionaires and millionaires now and people who own these businesses and stuff, they're mobile now. It says they're globally mobile, meaning like it used to be that if Seagrip owned a major company, he'd have a headquarters in Milwaukee, and then it wasn't cost effective for him to move out of Milwaukee. That's not the case, guys. Seagrip is in Manhattan. He has a hedge fund, investing firm, this big office space. He can just fire everyone in Manhattan, move his operation down to Atlanta, Orlando, Austin, Phoenix, and be just fine. Pay less tax. You know what I'm saying? And he's just fine. Everything's mobile now. All you do is pack up the computers and go. You know?
Look, I'll be the first to admit I'm a Philly boy, born and raised. I love Philly, Jersey, because I love it. But when I made the decision to move to Texas, I don't like being in Texas. Texas is not home to me. But I make good money and I don't pay state income tax.
Yep,
And
facts.
I live very frugal and modest like this. I have my vices, so my coins and comics are my vices. But other than that, I love it. And as you said before, I got my passport and I'm willing to use it. And I already know I'm going to be an expat. So, and that's what's going to happen, because as more and more people are transitioning to gig economy, if you're a gig economy worker, you can do that almost anywhere.
Yep, that's true.
If you
if you're a digital nomad, you know what I'm saying?
Digital nomad,
all you need is a computer. You know what I'm saying? You're ready to rock. Now, guys, here's the thing. What they don't understand is that is it Mondami? Is this idiot? He's trying to tax more of the. Hold on. Okay, so Secret, help me out here. Was it Stripe? Stripe is like Cash App. You know what I'm saying? Stripe left or is leaving San Francisco because San Francisco passed a law to where apps like Stripe or Venmo, they get taxed on the amount of money that they're making. That's being that's people. Okay, the total amount of money that goes through their app as transactions gets taxed by the city of San Francisco. So Stripe was like, no, and left. Yeah. Now, guys, this is other people's money that they're just providing a service as a transaction, not the salaries of the people who work there. Oh no, the fact that there's money going through them in the first place gets taxed. So Stripe left, and that was a huge blow to San Francisco. They are going to try and tax these businesses. That's why these corporations are leaving. If they raise the corporate tax, because you don't think that Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, even Austin's not going to be doing backflips and to try and sweeten that pot to say, hey, come down here. Because you look at Brexit, when the UK left the EU, all these financial centers stuff moved to Dublin because of the extra taxes and extra tariffs and all this other stuff that it would take to do business in a non-EU country. So now Dublin is a huge financial center now. So what they're trying to do is they're going to get all the people who make jobs, create jobs. Because I'm no fan of the ultra rich because I don't pocket watch. Guys, please never, ever, ever, ever care if Elon or any of these dudes get an extra billion. That's not going to affect you getting your money. You know what I'm saying? Guys, I can't stand it. Well, Elon's got $1 billion to business. What does that have? That has nothing to do with if any of us can make moves and get money. Because I guarantee, guys like Seagrip, Snowboard, myself, successful guys, all you guys in the chat making good money. There's some goofy, target worker communist who would say that they should tax us more. That we're the bad people too. You know what I'm saying? So, Secret, what were you saying?
Speaking of Elon, the board just approved his $1 trillion package.
Isn't it funny, guys, how they're like, oh, Elon blew all of this money at Tesla, ha ha ha. He's gonna go broke, ha ha ha. But then they're like, he's gonna be the world's first trillionaire. It's like, which one is it? Make up your mind. And guys, there's already trillionaires out there. If you think that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are the richest men on planet Earth,
you've been had, you've been took, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok.
Guys, the Saudi king, he's worth trillions. The king of Qatar, trillions. With a T, trillions, guys. All these oil sheiks in Dubai that freaking drop the Dubai dookie on these freaking 304s, Those guys are rich. You know what I'm saying? Gregory says, yeah, the new governor, New Jersey. We're gonna talk about her, dude. We're gonna talk about her because supposedly she made like $9 billion on some crooked stuff in the stock market. So thanks for the $2, my friend. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Seriously. Garlic croutons, dude.
Guys, the British royal family isn't anywhere near as rich as the Saudis and the Qataris. They're worth hundreds and hundreds of millions, maybe like $1 billion, but dude, these guys are worth trillions. The entire British royal family's holdings have nothing on the Saudis. The Saudi king can literally buy the British monarchy. That's how much money he has. So they're just the people that we don't talk about. So,
So when I think of a mayor of a city, I think of them as being the CEO of the city, same as the governor, CEO of the state, and president, CEO of the United States.
Yeah.
And what I think is so insane about what's going on in New York is you just voted a man who has never had an effing job.
A business.
Never.
Yeah.
As the CEO of your city.
That's what they did with Bernie too.
Yeah.
You just voted a man who has never held an effing job, who's never worked a 9 to 5, who's never had to rob Peter to pay Paul to make ends meet, to go through the ups and downs and trials and tribulations, the swings and hours of outrageous fortune.
Yeah, and he majored
in effing city.
And he majored in African American studies in college.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
This is literally his first effing job.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Jamie Dimon's interview earlier today in regards to them moving out to Detroit, I believe it was. And one of the things that he this guy knows how to play both sides of the fence. Which is why he's where he's at right now. But with that being said, he said that, I've known politicians that, have little to no experience and they grew into the job, and maybe he will grow into this job. Okay, so we're going to test this out on the
biggest city.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, I can't wait to see because because for the majority of us on this call right now and listening, this is not going to impact us.
Yeah.
We will get through this. This too shall pass, but this will be such a good
But for everyone in New York. Clown World. Now, guys, here, check this out.
Zorro Mandami right
This
here.
Zorro guy, he'll be hanging out with Jamie Dimon pretty soon.
Zorro.
Thank you, New York City. Together we made history. Now let's get to work. Yeah, he was promising his people that voted for him for all this money. Then he lied to him. He needs your money now. Let's watch this, guys. Here we go.
Good morning, New York City. Thank you. Last night we made history, and today we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city.
Doesn't he have a face that you wouldn't tire of punching? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
All that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government, and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and hunger to solve old problems with new solutions.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Talking to organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, better
Hold on, let it finish.
with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what our neighborhoods deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency, because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition.
Look at that. Give me money. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. I thought the rich people were going to pay for this.
It requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com.
It's your campaign's over.
You guys saw that look on his face, man. You guys saw that look on his face. I mean, he was actually being pretty slick because he knew what he was doing. This man knew what he was doing. Nothing is free. This guy, man, I got to give it to him, no, man. He's a slick salesman. People realizing now, man, hey, we got to fork up money for him now for his communist utopia. I mean, this is just a transition team, folks. That's it. It's going to get way worse.
Yep, that's true.
When he actually gets in office. Look at this, man. This comment here. So now Mandami is trying to get rich off of duping his supporters into supporting his socialism that will never happen because Hochul will never fund it. She's already said she won't raise taxes on the rich. Mandami is a complete fraud. Hey, Grok, his socialism never work, and we already know it's never work. Look at this one here. Begging for money already. That's what he's going to do, man. These socialists, man, they're grifters, man. They are grifters. And people are dumb enough to actually, support someone like him. It's done, man. I mean, Kathy Hochul, let's call it what she is, man. She's probably going to get primaried by some radical leftist socialists. That actually may help the Republican when it comes to the governor's election. But it's not a sure thing that a Republican would actually win in New York State, even with a far left communist running.
Hey, guys, in the chat, code your language, guys. Come on, guys. Once again, I shouldn't have to say this, guys. The algorithm, all right? Guys, the algorithm's Coyote and we are the Roadrunner. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to express yourself without using non-YouTube friendly words, So, and no, my mods aren't tone policing. They're just doing it so that my stream doesn't get taken down. So, yeah. No, guys, here. This is the hold on. Look at these comments. Oh yeah, he's the greatest thing ever. He's the greatest thing ever. Please. Someone ask now what your country can do for you. But look, free stuff. Yeah, then versus now. Facts. Look at that, guys. What a joke. What an absolute joke. This is a total mess, man. Look at that, guys. And of course, people were saying, look, socialism's never worked, right? Now, guys, there's a pretty smart dude. Snowboard, you were saying something?
Yeah, I wanted to say one reason why this guy got elected is he has a very good media team or people filming him and whatnot. You notice how they were like changing the angles and, it's up on a roof and everything. Younger people love that. So they're like, yeah, see, he's not just like, on a commercial on CNN or something. So that's how he was able to get so many younger people because he had a great, like some of his like commercials and stuff were like really well done and for cheap too. So I think that really is what helped him win by like a lot. So he has some either people so maybe not powerful people funding him, but he has some like good media people that work for him.
That's
So
true.
that helps. That, I mean, he was, look at how, I mean, he became the mayor, so he
Yeah.
had to sell it to you. So like, that's what I'm saying. It's not really so much what he's saying; it's sometimes it's the way he's presenting it.
That's true. That's true. And guys,
that really
we all
goes a
know
long
was
way.
it all these chicks have TikTok brain. So 84% of Gen
Exactly.
Z women ages 18 to 29 voted for this dumbass. Look at that. Guys, I want you to put an NS in the chat for not surprised. You understand?
As a matter of fact, I was watching some TikToks and streams, man in the street interviews, and they were asking these women and white women why they voted for him, and to try to see, what. And overwhelmingly, they could not name really anything except for free buses. Well, he's gonna make public. He's gonna make the buses free, or it's gonna be rent control, or he's gonna stop raising rent. And I'm just thinking, okay, but so say what you will about. So we're used to politicians over promising, and to say under delivering would be an understatement. So whether you like Trump, hate Trump, whatever the case may be, one thing you cannot say about him is overwhelmingly every promise he made on the campaign trail, in less than a year, he kept all his promises. Well, the majority of his promises made on the campaign trail. And when you think about when Biden got elected, one of the things that he promised was student loan forgiveness. And the women roll out in droves to vote for him to get their student loans, because once again, they're the most, even though they say educated, most enrolled and most in debt, but they voted for him in droves. And he dragged his tail for 2-3 years in regards to the student loans. And then all he did was, I think forgave me like 10,000 of it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Guys, here you go. Let's so before we get in this, let's look at some of the dunderheads who endorsed this idiot, right?
Lesbians endorse Zoran. Lesbians for Zoran.
The Democratic establishment is freaking out about a new poll that shows the far-left socialist candidate, Zoran Mamdani, beating Andrew Cuomo for the first time. I took to the streets to see what the city is saying.
Well, this should be round zero of Zoran Mamdani's support. We're in
Look at this broad.
Williamsburg, Brooklyn. This is home to trust fund babies, college-educated people. A lot of white people live here. Who are you voting for mayor?
Zoran. Zoran or nothing. He's just real. He rides the subway.
Who are you voting for?
Zoran. He's trying to give incentives back to folks who actually are from here.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
You from here?
No, it's people like me who've kind of made this environment a little more gentrified, and I want to help do whatever.
1 second.
And just one point really quick, like one reason why they're like, oh, we'll get the the free buses because they're just sick of being on a train.
Whatever I can.
We are going to head into Madison Square Park in Manhattan, which is much more corporate, a little more stuffy, and we're going to see if even there Zoran has support.
Mamdani was not originally my first choice, but don't really want Cuomo.
I do want to vote for Zoran. I like that he actually knows areas in New York.
Even in Manhattan, it's clear Zoran's got a lot of support. Not everyone is convinced, though.
I'm just wondering who you're planning to vote for mayor.
Brad Lander. A bit hesitant about Mamdani. He's out campaigning with Jamal Bowman. Feels a bit anti-Semitic to me.
What we're seeing out here is much more split. I met one Cuomo voter and a lot of really enthusiastic.
For that, guys.
What do you think will happen in New York City if and when Mamdani is potentially elected?
I mean, dude, it can be, I don't like using terms of hyperbole or exaggeration, but it can be as bad as people think it can be, okay?
Yeah.
You're talking about someone who is targeting the 1% or the 2%, or even folks that are making just $1 million a year. I'll break that down for you. 80% of millionaires in New York and in the entire United States
are self-made. It's one thing if he's only targeting the billionaires and then you have a good faith dispute. He's targeting folks that believed and bought into the American dream and are nothing but value add producers to New York City. They help out their communities, they feed their employees, they feed their families, and the 1% of New Yorkers gives 48% of New York City's tax base. So if he's pushing these folks out, and again, setting the billionaires aside, self-made millionaires who are employing hardworking folks, if he pushes them out and continues the mass exodus of folks leaving to Florida, there won't be any tax base to fund all these projects, these utopian projects, these pie-in-the-sky projects that he is telling and lying to everyone that he says he'll fund. There will be dust in his hands.
Are free buses worth getting rid of the rich here?
Absolutely not. Look, there's good faith debate that you guys can have as to whether free buses and free subways and free transportation can come. Obviously, that term free is loaded.
Yeah,
but the
'cause
way
someone
he's
has to pay
proposing
for
it by demonizing certain classes and certain sects and certain factions who are only value-producing folks in New York City is what we call a demagogue, is what we call a charlatan. He is a fraud. He has been demonstrated as a fraud at every iteration throughout his entire campaign.
Look at that, guys.
Nice.
Look at that, guys. You know, guy knows.
You guys summed it up pretty much.
Yeah.
When a man,
There was one
What are you
before,
doing?
I know. There was one
Lesbian.
street. I think it was on TikTok. Wait, here you go. Yeah, guys. Okay. Once again,
remember,
This-
another part is that he's fairly good looking, so women will vote for him, like Trudeau and stuff like that.
yeah,
That's a big part of it.
and
too.
they try and make him like he's hip and modern or whatever, you know. But do I have a thing on? Hold on, I think I have one more thing on Twitter to show you guys, and then we'll go to this guy on TikTok because he's pretty big.
And snowboard. You forgot to say pause.
Here we go. Here we go.
Constitution in one way.
Here you go. Watch. Now, guys, nothing good can come from these idiots. Okay.
So if you guys could change the Constitution in one way, how would you change it?
Her first gov major.
Georgetown
I was
University.
literally going to say legalize abortion.
Maybe abortion laws,
course.
you know, rights to abortion, like transgender rights to have surgery, without necessarily parental consent. Yes, you have freedom of
Did you hear that?
Wow.
For Transformers to have surgery without parental consent. Guys, this is how spoiled the Western woman is. Right here. That this is the major things that they would change, that they would change in the Constitution, that they would amend to the Constitution. They can't think of anything else. Absolutely
Because
insane.
because they're privileged.
Yeah.
Like you would only care about that if you are privileged. Like
Yep.
if you start nitpicking about stuff, like
Yep.
you know, their parents are paying for their college and whatnot. Like they're not really in the workforce.
David
yet.
says this is the downfall of humanity right there. We're doomed. Because this is the ignorance and the arrogance of abundance, right?
Yeah.
When your bellies are full and you have clean water and it's electricity, this is the stuff that they worry about. I'm telling you guys, pretty soon, I hope one day there's some type of event or war or something that shocks the West. There's some type of conflict that shocks or event that shocks the West into actually figuring out what's really going on.
I mean, you have right to sit there and scream at someone because they choose to change their gender or they love the same sex, things like that.
So should we add trans rights to the Constitution?
Absolutely.
Definitely adding in like policies that like make healthcare more accessible for like immigrants as well as like people in low income communities.
I just think we need to get the old white fucks out of power, but that's not really a constitution issue.
So if you guys could,
this person says that she's like a government major, and that's guys, don't go to college, please. Don't, unless you're going for science, technology, engineering, math, accounting, economics, IT. Guys, don't do it, or you'll be around these dunderheads right here. What an absolute joke, you know. So, guys, she actually thought that she said something.
Yeah.
Guys. All right. Here we go.
So ideologically and ethically, I agree with Zoran Mamdani that the cost of living in this city has gotten way too high. However, as a New Yorker and as an economist, I feel like it's my responsibility to point out a few of the red flags I see in his proposed policies and what the impacts could be for New York City. So one of the main policies of his campaign has been opening city-owned grocery stores that can sell groceries at or below market price. Which sounds really good, and he plans to pay for these by reallocating SNAP and WIC benefits. However, when you learn a little bit more about how that market operates, the policy becomes a lot less appealing. A few important things to understand about New York City's grocery and convenience store industry is that it's unique in that over half the market share is made up of small locally owned businesses. Bodegas only typically operate at between a 1% and 5% profit margin, and around 30% of their revenue comes from people paying with SNAP and WIC benefits. So siphoning off part of that 30% revenue on a 1% to 5% profit margin business and forcing them to compete with state-owned grocery stores that can offer groceries at or below market price suddenly makes the industry much more difficult for small owners to operate in.
There you go.
Again, ideologically, I agree with them. We're the greatest city in the world, and we shouldn't tolerate any level of food insecurity. But a much more efficient way of doing that would be to expand the SNAP and WIC benefits we already offer so that money can be circulated within New York City. I agree minimum wage should be raised to keep up with inflation. Since 2020, the average...
No, guys, minimum wage is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, right? Guys, if you realize how much, like, minorities and low-income communities were actually hurt by the minimum wage. Guys, Thomas Sowell had a whole book about this where he was saying how a lot of like Black, Hispanic, Chinese, and immigrants of all kinds in the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they would get these jobs, or like young country boys who would come to the city and didn't have any skills. They would get these jobs as like a bathroom attendant or the guy who walks around the restaurant with some warm towels and some water where you can wash your hands. These guys that made like 50 cents an hour plus tips, right? That was an actual good way for them to get into the restaurant industry, because then they would move up from there to busboy, to cook, to manager. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it went. But now, once they made the minimum wage, they couldn't afford those positions anymore. And you think about San Diego, where they're trying to raise the service wage to $25 an hour. $25 an hour. So if you work in a hotel or anything, they're going to pay you $25 an hour. Now, guys, starting EMTs make like $24 an hour. Why would anyone be an EMT if you can just go work at McDonald's or work at a hotel for $25 an hour? And C-Grip, you know this. What is a business's highest bill or highest?
It's the employees' salary and benefits. That's the number one impact to their bottom line for most businesses. That's literally almost 67% of their bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And people don't understand. If you're 17, 18, 19, whatever, and 16, you have your first job. It used to be that there was a lot more of those jobs, because there wasn't the minimum wage. It just doesn't make any sense. People don't think that this thing. Oh yeah, see, Steve says his nephew's a EMT who gets $24 an hour. Yeah. Well, but you can just go work at McDonald's. And guys, you aren't supposed to be able to raise a family on a fast food salary. What are you talking about? This is why you get a trade. This is why you work fast food while you're doing your IT certificates or you're going to college. You know what I mean?
So for me, fast food was my entry-level job. I was working fast food in high school.
Me too.
And so I started working off. So I worked at Roy Rogers, throughout high school until, I turned 18. And then I started doing asbestos abatement.
Damn, really?
No, yeah, but I was paranoid. Trust me, I kept my protective gear and respirator on at all times.
Yikes, man, that's a hell of a job. How much?
But at that time, the pay was $10 an hour, and so keep in mind when I was working, I think the minimum wage was like $3.35 an hour, or something like
Wow.
that. When I was a teenager, and so to go from $3 something an hour to $10 an hour, it was like woohoo! I'm rich.
Guys, put in the chat how much minimum wage was when you were in high school, and then guys, after that, I want you to put a 1 if you remember when gas was less than $1 a gallon.
Yeah, I remember when gas was cheaper than milk.
So were you alive, or were you like conscious? When gas was less than $1 a gallon. Do you remember that?
No, I used to work weekends at a gas station pumping gas.
Yeah. Yep. I remember when I started driving, gas was 88 cents a gallon. Whatever. 89 cents a gallon. This is 1996. Yeah. And then after that. All right. So let me see. Vintage says $2.50 an hour when he was young. Ben says $3.35 an hour. Lenny says $4.25. Tim Hicks says $4.50. Sorry. Officer says wait. $3.75 an hour. Yeah, look at that, guys. Mike says he remembers 19 cents a gallon. Wow. Look at that, guys. Steve says $2.25. Yeah. Because I remember that though. When I first started driving, gas was like, I remember when it finally hit $1 a gallon, I was like, no way, that's crazy, So here we go.
Cost of living has increased 24%, while the minimum wage in New York City has remained at $16.50 an hour. If it were to keep up with inflation, current minimum wage in the city would be right around $21 an hour, and it's pretty disappointing that City Council hasn't already acted on. But
the small businesses can't keep up with that, though.
Yeah.
If they were to raise the minimum wage in all these businesses, they would just go out of business. You know what I'm saying?
His proposal is to raise it to $30 an hour, which effectively doubles the cost of operating a business in this city, and one single full-time employee will cost just over $62,000 for a business to employ.
Adrian, no, dude, you have this wrong. Only in the West is their minimum wage, dude. You think that there's minimum wage in Vietnam and Indonesia and the Philippines and Paraguay? Guys, they don't even know what a 40-hour work week is in those parts of the world. They don't have minimum wage in Mongolia. Because minimum wage is a very Western new thing. Guys, you look at the island nations, South America, it's daylight come and me one go home. You get up when it's butt crack of dawn, and you don't go home until it's dark, and you get 20 pesos a day or 200 pesos a week. There's no minimum wage. And most people in most of these countries still work back-breaking labor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're probably getting a lot. Well, very underpaid.
Well, as a matter of fact, my ex-fiance in Dominican Republic,
Secret, you got cut out, buddy. Secret, your microphone isn't working. But yeah, guys, and then you look at the Middle East, guys, there still is slavery to this day. Guys, there's people. Who do you think built the World Cup stadiums in Qatar? Slaves, literal slaves. So, yeah.
Boy. All of these policies working in conjunction with one another will no doubt cause a huge increase in small locally owned businesses closing in New York City.
There you go.
Especially in the convenience and bodega sector. When they close, they leave behind a very large market share. And what typically happens is large corporations and national chains move in.
But hold on, wait a minute, guys. There's one thing that he's missing. This dunderhead wants to have state-run grocery stores, right, guys?
not
And
good.
guys, in situations like that, snowboard, who's the biggest monopoly there is?
The government.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You don't want
To absorb
government
that market
controlling
share?
all your food supplies. That's never
Ain't
good.
that the truth? Yep. Isn't it funny, guys, that they still have in cities where you can't grow food in your neighborhood or in your backyard? You can't
like
do it.
collect
Like,
rainwater.
yeah, can't do it. It's absolutely insane, man.
And what they
But
hold that
one
small
reason-
businesses don't hold.
One
is-
reason this guy did get voted in, though, because a ton of the people that did vote for him, they're not a business owner. They're not even thinking about doing a small business. So a lot of these people don't care about small business at all, and they don't see how important. Like, small business is very important for America and upward mobility for the individual. They view everything as just some giant corporate hellscape. So they think, oh, if I take money from the CEO and put it in my pocket, it will fix it all. And it's not quite that simple.
And guys, hit the like button, guys. Let me check the likes. Guys, we are at 87 people watching. We have 62 likes, guys. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the super chat button, guys. $1 or $2 helps. Like I said, I'm trying to soundproof everything in here. It'll help the sound. You know what I'm saying? So thanks to all you guys that are donating. Thanks to all the new members, you know.
And also government-run grocery stores. That's going to be, oh, well, we need your digital ID so you can buy food. That's how a lot of those things get implemented too.
But hey, snowboard. Here's the thing, though. What if that we put Snowboard, Red Door, Matthew, and sorry, officer on the government
council,
the grocery store council, and then I work for Pepsi, and I go, hey, Snowboard, check your little chair, and slides you an envelope to get rid of Coke and all my competitors in your stores.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all. But that's what I'm saying. That ultimately will happen, and it will be. It hurts the diversity in the marketplace. You kind of want a guy at a bodega selling you like Chinese ramen noodle than another guy selling you ramen noodle from Mexico, and it's kind of sketchy or something. Like that's actually kind of good in a way because you still can pick where you want to shop.
Sure,
but once you get government grocery stores, then the food will become government. Like that's how you get Soylent Green. Like that's like if you extrapolate it, it's a mechanism they can control more.
Yeah,
so that's not good.
I just think that people just don't think at all. They really, really, really don't think about.
They're not entrepreneurial at all, so they don't care about.
Well, hold on, Snowboard. I think they're just so glass half empty. They're just so, there's winners and there's losers. There's doers and there's don'ters. There's victims and there's victors. And all these dunderheads are victims and losers. That's all they are, guys.
That's why they want more for free for doing nothing.
Yeah. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Guys, please, here, let's get serious for a second, guys. All you guys, I need you to hear me and hear me well. Guys, I need you to, every year and a half, 2 years, do a relationship audit. Write down everyone that you talk to on a regular basis. And you write down the pros and the cons of knowing them. And if the cons outweigh the pros, kick them through the uprights. You guys should not be socializing with anyone that's a lazy, good for nothing, useless, drag on society. That's suckling on society's teeth. You know what I'm saying? Because as they are going to bring you down. Those types of people, they're going to see Snowboard's business doing good, and they're going to be like, hey, Snowboard, instead of going to work today, why don't we go smoke weed? Or, hey, Snowboard, instead of, fixing your truck so you can do this, let's go smoke weed or da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Because your success is gonna hold up a mirror to them. and make them realize how lazy and useless they are. So, and it's sad that there's guys who act like chicks because we know chicks do this to each other. But you see guys doing this more and more to each other. You guys would be shocked at how many of my friends that are super successful, and even me, where I've had friends of mine where they say stuff, and you're like, you're not really my friend. You know what I mean? They should be. If I hear snowboards doing better in life, that's going to motivate me to do better. If I hear that Tim Hicks, Steve, all you guys are doing good, that's going to motivate me to do better. But I'm not going to be like, man, fuck that whole ass snowboard, man. He ain't shit. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Why? Clown world.
If anything, you want to be the, for lack of a better term, like dumbest of your friends, and they're
that's
bringing
true.
you up a little bit.
Yeah, that's very, 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 very true. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what you typically see happen after they absorb that market share is they raise the price to offset the additional cost of labor. And what New York City gets left with is significantly fewer small businesses, much higher prices, and a city that's much deeper into the process of gentrification. Let me know what you guys think of these policies in the comments, and like and follow for daily economic and public policy review.
So he says, this person says complaints are valid, but solutions not so much. He's a communist. Look at that. Someone says the bodegas will be fine. That isn't true. Look at that. Someone says bodega ecosystem is a cornerstone of New York City culture and community. If it gets undercut and destroyed, it won't come back. Look at that, guys. Someone says New York's about to become the worst city in the world. Someone says the cost of living in New York is so high because of government policies. The solution isn't more government. Facts.
Yeah.
Look at that. Someone says it's like when they complain about the Republicans keeping them from fixing things, only 10.5% of voters in New York are registered Republicans. Facts. They say the same stuff in Chicago, Baltimore, LA. It's the Republicans. Everyone in power is Democrat, you morons. What a joke. What a joke. Look at that.
Also, too, if you make a grocery store government per se, you're going to have so much bureaucracy of just to like buy a potato or get a potato to the grocery store that it'll be ridiculous.
Yeah. Or guess what? He wants to transfer food stamp benefits to these stores. So that means that you'll have to go to that store. So you have to travel away from your neighborhood because he wants one city-owned store in each borough. Those boroughs are big, you know?
I didn't think of that.
That. Look at that. Someone says, so the Democrats have run New York for a very long time. They own the problems. So we're going to vote Democrat to fix it? Facts, right? Look at that. And this guy thinks that they're trying to, he said Giuliani is Republican. Giuliani did a damn good job.
Giuliani cleaned a lot up. Yeah.
Yeah. Back when he was mayor of New York. Guys, C-Grip, my friend.
Yeah, so hopefully my audio is working now.
Are you still shocked, like, when you see that New York, like, is such a tourist destination? You remember how New York was in the 80s?
Oh, yeah. I used to... Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So I used to... I had a girlfriend that lived out in Harlem. And so there was a time I was going out to New York almost every weekend.
Hold on, guys. Secret, hold on. Isn't it crazy what dudes will do to get some? You got Secret ducking bullets in Harlem in the 80s.
Look.
Oh no.
been stabbed, I've been slashed, I've been shot at all over. I've been jumped all over Panani. So the things I will do, or at least I used to do. And so, I can tell some stories. And so when I talk about experience with women, trust me, I got the scars and battle wounds to prove it. But I used to go there, and so when I was in the military, mind you, I went in at 19, so I didn't know anything about social life or anything along those lines. And being overseas,
come a
going
little
out
bit
to the club,
closer to
partying.
your microphone, Secret.
Say that again.
Come a little bit closer to your microphone.
Okay.
Like, there you go. That's better. Stay there.
Okay. So when I was overseas, going out to the club, partying, it was amazing. Then when I came back to Philly, nightlife just sucked until I started going to New York and started going out to clubs there. And it was a whole new world. And so, I love going out to New York. And I used to go out there. Like I said, there was a time I was going out there every weekend. And then even after that, I would at least go to New York a few times a year just to go hang out and party or go to conventions, workshops, things along those lines. Now, I'm good.
Yeah. But now, guys, like Giuliani cleaned up New York. Guys, Times Square was not this touristy area. It was dangerous back in the day. In the 90s, the 80s, man. And now, do you guys ever see the movie Party Monster with Macaulay Culkin, where he played that Michael Allen kid, that raver flavor kid that like murdered his drug dealer? Anyways, so that kid got like 15 years for that crime, and he went away in like 2000 and did like 15 years, and he got out, and it shows him walking around Times Square like, I can't believe this is Times Square. This is crazy, But here you go. This is a follow up.
As an economist, the most frustrating thing in my life right now is trying to explain that the United States needs to adopt socialist policies in order to sustain capitalism, while also trying to explain that Mamdani, AOC, and the Democratic Socialist Party is dangerous and doesn't actually understand how socialism works.
Now, guys, what he's talking about is more of like a Keynesian economics, right? Where like, okay, so the market should be able to correct itself, right? So, but here's the thing, guys, there is times where the government needs to step in. Like, for instance, when there was that, who was it? Whoever made Tylenol or Advil made that big batch that was poison, and the government figured it out. I think it was like the FDA or something, and made them recall all the stuff, because if there was no federal intervention, they wouldn't have done the recall, and it would just be like, oh well, people die. It's like the scale. It's like there's a scale. It would have gone one way, and people are falling off. It's up to the government to write that scale to mitigate harm. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are times where the government does overstep, yes, but I can see the reason. Guys, if you look on these bottles of stuff, do you guys know what dextromethorphan and all this crap is in your foods? People eat it anyways, right? So someone needs to actually look and be like, look, is this safe or not, right? There needs to be at least some effort. And guys, think about what Big Pharma would actually do if there was no federal oversight whatsoever. Because remember, government...
they would put it even worse, Gar.
Yeah, government can be evil, but big corporations can be evil too. So there are times where we could actually have government work for us to protect us from these big corporations. Or if your family member dies and breaks the law, you can sue. You can sue. If there was no government regulation, you wouldn't be able to sue if your family member was. Think about what hospitals could do. A doctor's high on fentanyl, or the nurse, and leaves a towel in your family member's stomach. She dies, and you couldn't sue. So there's a reason why government should be involved in regulating products. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is that, you can call that socialist if you want, But guys, someone has to check here. When government is one.
Well, it should function that way, but those get bloated. So like things like EPA, we have EPA that should be doing some good things, but now they're putting that DEF in the diesel trucks, which you're like, what even is this? And it's like,
yeah,
so it starts off as a good intention, but then it gets bloated. That's what I'm saying about the grocery stores. Like it's not half bad of an idea, and government is like, I am saying government a lot of the times isn't good, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm just saying it has a tendency to do that because it will have so much.
But here's the thing, snowboard. You want small government. I do too, which means that we need to focus on the most important things there are, right? Meaning that I want to know that if I get in this MRI, that it's not going to, microwave my face, right? I want to have a good trust that that's not going to happen. And if that does, I can sue the company and I can sue whoever in the government said that this would work. You know what I'm saying? That's why we win, So
if you understand why socialism has been so successful in Scandinavia versus why it's been so detrimental to personal freedoms every other place that's implemented it.
But it's still capitalist, you goof. And it also, guess what? You guys know how much oil money like Norway and Denmark have? Isn't it funny how we talk about Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi and all these oil, but guys, Norway is like the number 4 highest oil producing country on earth. And they don't get a bad rap at all. Isn't it funny how that works, right?
And those people in Norway you remember how we just looked at the girl complaining about what she got from the grocery store? They wouldn't complain about something like that at all. They live off like very little and live modestly. They're not like consuming as much as we are.
Less than half the population of Norway owns homes. Like most Scandinavian places, they don't have this need to buy a house. They're just chill, just having a nice little flat, and just chilling,
Yeah, they have some
why
fish,
the Democratic Socialist Party
has sex now and then they're good.
Yeah.
Complete lack of understanding on how to effectively implement socialism, and in fact, they adopt a lot of the same ideologies and strategies that have caused places like Venezuela to completely implode. And it becomes concerning when you see these politicians lead these movements where they have absolutely no understanding of how to do it effectively. All of their policies are predicated on this idea that profit is bad and that citizens should just own the means of production, and that way everyone gets to share in the wealth. But when everyone owns something, no one actually owns it. The government is the one that owns it. And when the government owns the means of production, what it actually does is inhibit individual rights and freedoms. Because instead of there being tons of employers in the market, there's really only one, which is the government. This is what you've seen in places like Venezuela, Iran, and China, where individual freedom has been limited and economic prosperity has imploded. This is in stark contrast to places where you've seen socialism be very successful, like in Scandinavia.
But it's not socialism, though. Once again, he's using the incorrect word, right? He's talking about big government capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Where the government gets involved a lot. Far past what we would consider government overreach. Yeah. Rizza said it the best. If Scandinavia was a good socialist area, then why is it that only they can do it? Facts. It's because they have all those resources. That's why. That's the only reason why. It's relatively
smaller,
peaceful. Yes.
And they're a little bit more of a monoculture with no black fatigue, for lack of a better term. Actually, I shouldn't say that, but I'm saying it's easier to manage it in a smaller package where all the people are more similar mindset, I would say. Like, it's a much smaller scale to do something like that on.
Yeah, that's true.
There they actually rely
and their economy, like, think about it. Think about how different Mississippi's economy is compared to California, right?
Yeah.
Like, our country is so big that we have, like, each state might as well be its own country,
on capitalism to create individual wealth and entrepreneurship in order to fund their social policies. They believe becoming wealthy is something to strive for. And their governments believe that it's their role to do everything they can to help you create personal wealth. And in doing so, you're creating abundance, which creates tax revenue to fund their social services and provide everyone universal health care. Sweden has the highest concentration of millionaires per capita. It's estimated that almost 10% of their population.
And they also are the most violent country in Europe now because they let all the friggin' migrants in there, you know?
Are millionaires. Another great example would be the Swiss banking system. The Swiss banking system largely relies on its secretive nature to allow rich people to store their money and evade tax.
Yeah, but a lot of that too came from World War II and a lot of small hats.
Yeah,
were trying to escape Germany and put their money in Swiss bank accounts, and then after the war is over, they went to get their money, and the bankers were like, "What bank account?" I know not of what you speak. It's messed up and all, but it figures. You know what I'm saying?
It's even believed that much of Hitler's fortune is still being held in the Swiss banking system. And although their banking system is largely unscrupulous, they understand that it provides them a ton of economic flexibility to fund their social programs. Whereas in the United States, once a year, we march our bank CEOs to Washington so that Democrats can criticize them for all the mistakes that Congress has made. All of this is to say that the United States is in late-stage capitalism, and how we decide to deal with that over the next 10 years will dictate our prosperity over the next 100. And although with all prosperity comes inequality, it shouldn't be the goal to deconstruct or renounce capitalism, but rather reallocate its power to middle and low-income households.
Now, guys, here's the thing that they don't understand, right? There was a thing that was talking about how France is cooked, right? And France is cooked because they, after World War II, they made their social programs, right? They have the same social programs that Scandinavia has, but they're funded by only income tax, okay? Whereas Scandinavia, it's from business tax, property tax, corporate tax. It's spread out more. You know what I'm saying? So everything in France was doing great because up until about 1977, 75, France had like the lowest unemployment rate in Europe. You know? So there's all these people. We're working, blah, blah, blah. But then what happened? The 70s oil embargo. Oops. Then unemployment went through the roof. Then you had a whole bunch of people who weren't working and they were trying to squeeze, but the bill for these services still had to get paid. Do you understand? So let's just say everything's doing fine because you have 3% unemployment. Well, you jump up to 12%. Well, the bill, the amount of money that it takes to fund these social programs still requires 3% unemployment. So how do you make up that 11% gap?
Yeah.
Anyone? How do you make it up?
If you tell French people to work another like 2 hours in a day, they'll be like riot over that.
But seriously though, how do you make up that amount? Debt. Oops. So they started taking out debt to pay these bills. And then you have this idiot in the 80s, right, who lowered the retirement age to 60. So now you have less and less people because of the boomers and whatever working, right? And you have a smaller group of people working that have to fit this bill. And every time, you guys notice how there's been so many French prime ministers in the last however many years, they get voted out because multiple prime ministers have tried to say, look, we're going to diversify where we get this money from. And what happens in France, it's easy to vote the prime minister out. So now the French are so used to getting free stuff that they can vote out anyone that has some sense, and it tries to keep the country from collapsing. Now they become fat, lazy, entitled, and drunk with power. France is cooked. Hell yeah, what's going on, my friend? Long time no talk to you, man. How you been?
Busy, my guy.
How do you feel about Kami Mondami, man?
New York deserves it.
That's facts, guys. Absolute facts.
The only downfall that I'm in fear of is that New York and California are big proponents of the GDP.
Yeah.
And if New York goes down, it's nice to like, hey, let them go through it and let them feel what they vote for. But I have a hard feeling the entire country will feel it.
But guys, what do we say? What does Snowboard and I say? Make yourself essential, guys. Guys, I'm telling you, that's the only way that we can shield ourselves from this. Get a good paying, essential job, a trade, some type of skill where you could always be employed, live below your means, invest, you know what I'm saying? So that you can batten down the hatches and just weather the storm. You know?
Yeah.
That's us men, we will be just fine. And you know what? Hell yeah. Do you how old are you again?
33.
Okay. All right. So you and Snowboard, you guys in your 30s and 20s. How many girls did you guys talk to? I want to move to New York. I want to move to the city. Yay! Right? Isn't it weird? Like how girls want to do that, but guys want to move out of the cities and just be left the hell alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially the more money that we make, we want to get some property, get some land, and be left the hell alone. But girls always want to move to New York and live this Sex in the City lifestyle. It's absolute clown shoes. Why?
Well, it's easier to be a consumer in a city.
Facts.
Why?
Yep. That's true.
Like a lot of women are they're merely just consumers. Look at how their daily life is. Oh, I got to get Starbucks. I have to have my Stanley cup with me. I need to go out for lunch, go out for coffee, take this yoga class. Like,
yep.
A lot of those things are just kind of consumerism a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like in a city, like if you live in a city, it seems much easier just to like kind of like party all the time because you're like, well, what else am I really doing? I don't even have to like drive anywhere. You know, I can just get a cab. So why don't I just be like lit all the time? Like that's kind of like, it seems easy to fall into that.
I just think that the city life is just so damaging. Like every time that I've been to New York, you know, it's just I hate New York. I hate it. It smells. It's too busy. It's just Seattle slows down. San Antonio past 9 p.m. it slows down, right? Like it's everything's cool. New York's always go. It's loud. I don't know how people raise kids in New York. How? It just can't be good for your kids' psyche. Just being around all that noise and pollution and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. And one other reason, why do they go to cities? Male attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get male attention when they walk down the street or whatnot. If they're in a small town, they don't get that dopamine hit as much.
It's the easiest way for them to jump on the train, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. Here we go, guys.
So I want to give a quick rundown on how Zohran Mamdani plans to increase the supply of affordable housing in the city, as well as provide some charts and basic math that explains why it's likely a very inefficient way of doing it. And since this policy is estimated to cost the city $100 billion to implement,
$100 billion.
Our entire city.
Guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. You know what I mean? Guys, hit the super chat button. $1 helps. Appreciate that.
Budget is only $110 billion, meaning that the effective tax rate will have to double to pay for it. it's worth taking a minute to understand it. If you've been following me, you understand by now that the way that we bring down the average cost of housing is by increasing the supply, shifting the supply curve.
Now, guys, does anyone here watch Actual Justice Warrior? Anyone?
No.
Guys, he's awesome. Check his channel out.
Oh,
He's
I
awesome.
remember. I actually used to watch him a lot.
Yeah.
I forgot about that guy.
He talks about does anyone know the story of Minneapolis and St. Paul? How they were having housing crises, but Minneapolis let more, like they lowered the hold on. They did something to entice builders to build more units, and then made it so that the rent control laws didn't apply to the new units. All of a sudden, housing prices went down. Whereas St. Paul made it so that even the new units being built were all rent controlled. So all the builders stopped building. They just cut their projects and left. So now there's a huge housing crisis in Minneapolis. I mean, and in St. Paul. So
To the right, this will bring down the average cost of rent while increasing the quantity of affordable units. And the way that Mamdani plans on doing that is by implementing a housing model that's very similar to the model that they use in Vienna. In fact, he calls it the Vienna model. In this model, the city buys up plots of lands and develops it into affordable housing and acts as the landlord and caps the yearly rent increase to around 1%. The only time the rent can be increased more than 1% is when a unit becomes vacant. By doing this, it cuts out profit, and therefore you're able to offer rental units for much cheaper. However, what it also does is it assumes the risk and cost burden of these units onto the taxpayer.
There you
Because
go.
their annual rent increase is capped at 1%, they have a much steeper or inelastic supply curve than a market rate apartment would. Meaning they have much lower tenant turnover and thus vacancy rates, meaning that the supply is always very inelastic.
it's true.
Essentially, once a tenant moves into one, they never move out of
gonna
it.
leave. Yeah.
And although their annual rent increase is capped at 1%, the annual increase in the cost of operating the business isn't capped at 1%.
There you go, guys. Because cost of materials to fix things. You know what I'm saying? All that's going to keep going up. That's why a lot of
That's when
landlords.
he'll install his buddies in, and the buddies will be making it hand over fist, not doing anything.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that's why landlords can't do rent control. That's why there's so many empty apartments in New York, is because let's just say Snowboard owns this apartment and he can't raise the rent on it. Like it got rent controlled at like $1,100 a month, right? There's ones around him that are paying $5,000 or $6,000 a month is the going rate. Well, with the rent control, you can only raise the rent by like $300. So why are you going to do $20,000 worth of renovations to get it up to code when you're going to only make $200 more dollars a month? It actually costs you less to leave it vacant than to actually get a tenant in there. And that's one of the things that's cooking the housing market in New York.
So what you typically see is the cost of operating one of these apartment complexes quickly surpasses the amount of rental revenue they bring in, leading to a deficit in their budget. And that deficit needs to be covered by the taxpayers, regardless of if you actually live in one of those units or not. Because of this lack of turnover, the deficit at which they operate these buildings at continues to balloon more and more as the years go on. And eventually, the city has to make a decision. Are we going to continue to raise everyone else's taxes to subsidize these apartments? Or when a unit does become vacant, are we going to disproportionately increase the rent to cover all the operating losses of the other apartments? This explains my previous point about how this policy causes the supply curve to become inelastic and steepen, where now price increases happen at a far disproportionate rate to the quantity of affordable housing that's going onto the market. And what you've seen happen in Vienna is after years of raising everyone's taxes to subsidize these buildings, eventually they say enough is enough. And they just have to disproportionately increase the rent on one of these units when they become vacant. And this rent increase is typically very, very high, sometimes as high as 20%. When you calculate the aggregate rent increase of one of these buildings over the course of 5 to 10 years, it typically equals exactly what the rent increase would be of a privately owned building.
Look at that, guys.
All of his policies are predicated on this idea that profit is bad, and that by having the government provide services, you can absorb that profit and offer things at or below market price. And although that does sound like it makes sense, what it does in reality is it shifts the risk and cost burden away from developers and landlords and instead puts it on taxpayers. Let me know what you think in the comments. And
There you go, guys. Someone says, you are missing the other side. He can decrease demand by implementing policies that make people leave New York. Facts, right? Good. So you won't have a housing crisis if everyone leaves, right? Someone says you're using common sense. Dude, your Democrats only want to hear free and tax the rich, but they don't understand his logic and work. Yeah. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Man, oh man, oh man. Korg, what's going on, my friend?
How you doing?
Can you come closer to your microphone? Yeah, because we couldn't hear you. Korg, you there? Okay, but anyways.
Well, he's gonna look. So one thing I was thinking about earlier this week is, there was a time where we would have discussions like this, at the tavern, the coffee house, the tea house, whatever the case may be, where we would discuss and debate, government policies, what's going on in the world, the economy, what's going on in the area, and everything along those lines. And so we have literally, as a people, are getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah,
we are being indoctrinated. We're being told what to think, and we're no longer thinking from ourselves, or let me rephrase that, critically thinking what's the upside, what's the downside, and try and look at it from both perspectives. Now we just want to, get our balls tickled and get sweet nothings whispered in our ears. We want politicians. I call it boo loving. Tell me what you think I want to hear to shut me up.
Yep.
Well, and AJ, I was going to say that generally, I think the American people already went through rent control. What people fail to realize that during COVID and during the influx of illegals, where I live in the Midwest, we had a substantial amount of illegals move in that were subsidized by the government because they didn't work. So what happened is that I live around elderly and they're on fixed incomes. And what happened over the past, I would say, 3 years. Now, money's relative to where you live. So if you make $80K in the Midwest, that's equivalent to probably $150 or $200 in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here in the Midwest, we're doing $700-800 rent. Okay, now nice place, but we have actually gone up almost double that in a matter of almost 2 years.
Wait, say again?
So our rent went up in the past 2 years, double.
Damn.
Yeah. So now I work overtime and I work trade, so I can afford it. But the whole problem that people say, it's like, oh, well, we have rent control. Illegal immigration actually played out rent control because when you have the government subsidize illegals into apartments because they don't work, and that rent is now competition, the landlords in competition with the government, they have to upscale their own tenants up to where the government is paying the highest payment for the illegal. So now it's like you're almost making the American or the citizen pretty much be out on the street because you're subsidizing. So all this rent, all the equality of rent is just subsidizing those that can't pay for it, which is taxpayers.
Yeah.
But it's not so much our taxes, it's we have to compete with the government. If you follow what I'm trying to say.
And it's a losing battle because, like I always say, it's easy to be generous with other people's money and cavalier with other people's safety and security. And so, so you can't compete. And so, one of the key tenets, one of the key tenets of economics is supply and demand, and incentives drive behaviors.
Yeah.
So in regards to the rise of, the government didn't want to be in the housing business. That's why being a landlord or a house builder flipper has some of the highest tax advantages, because government didn't want to be in that business. And because we see what happens when government get into business. Government literally does not create or innovate or have products or services.
It doesn't cultivate competition.
Exactly.
Because when you filled all the illegals in with these apartments now, is that okay? So let's say you lived in Madison. Well, you have West and East Madison. West Madison may be 20% cheaper, and East Madison in the city might be more expensive. But within both East and West, you have competitive of apartments of like, hey, we have these benefits, or or you don't have to pay heat, or you don't have to pay water, or water's included, all the things, right? Well, we're now in the past couple of years, it's now all subsidized by the government from illegals moving in that don't work. So you actually started from bare minimum of competition of other apartments that are actually being filled by government subsidies. So now you have younger generations, which I feel sorry for, all the younger 20-year-olds, where their competition is like, oh crap, all these apartments are $2,000. And I have to drive 30, 40 minutes to work, but I don't get paid enough for it.
And it's not like those illegals are going to leave anytime soon. Just like the guy said it in the video, right? There's no turnover in those apartments. Did
you see the Exodus poll that was out of New York? 1.4 million.
Wow.
That's the
that's going to be the money makers,
right?
Yeah. Yep. Here you go, guys. Let's look at this. Now, guys, let's go to New Jersey, because this broad actually won the governorship of New Jersey, which sucks.
Of that interview, she was asked directly about this, and guess $1 million allegations, or zero, made a lot of, you corrected me and said it was of corruption, because Mikey Sherrill made a lot of money while she was a member of Congress. And part of the reason why she made so much money is that there are allegations, or allegations, as the super mayor would say.
People out there are judging off of hearsay, false allegations, and not facts.
That she essentially used her position as a member of Congress to
That's
pump up
what they
a small
voted in.
pharmaceutical company that she had a stake in. Then when the stock...
that's a funny thing he says in his, his thing.
Ended up going up, she sold off those stocks, making herself $7 million, and she never reported that she was a massive stakeholder, that she sold those stocks, or anything of the sort. And what was funny about this is that she went on The Breakfast Club, which is hosted by Charlemagne, and during the course of that interview, she was asked directly about this, and guess what? She had no answer.
I'm Jack Chitterelli, born and raised right here in New Jersey, where it's never been harder for the middle class. As governor, I have a plan to fix our state. In Congress, the only thing Mikey Sherrill fixed is her bank account.
Well, did you make $7 million in stock trades at all?
Oh, I saw this.
I haven't. I don't believe I did, but I'd have to go see what that was alluding to again.
Now, guys, Snowboard, if someone asked you, hey, Snowboard, did you make $7 million in the stock market last year in 2024? What would you say?
You'd say, hell yeah, I did.
No. But honestly, you didn't, though, right?
Yeah,
so you should just be able to say no. No, I didn't. You know what I mean? And this chick won. She actually got the vote.
Come on. Who wouldn't know if they made $7 million? New Jersey needs a governor who gets it. Mikey Sherrill doesn't. I do.
Now, look, obviously that isn't...
That guy would probably do the same thing once he gets in, too.
Yeah. But she actually won, and she's the governor now.
Well,
Yeah.
in all
say don't
fairness, I
elect
mean,
Phil Ford.
I've had $7 million fall between the couch cushions, so it's understandable.
And then this knucklehead in Virginia. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Hold on. Where's this idiot? Abigail Spanberger. She's a mess, dude. Hold on, let's look at it. 1 second. Abigail Spanberger. This chick's an absolute mess. Where's the thing on that's not copyright? Where is it? Yeah, she's a woke idiot too, though, man. You know, and but here's the thing: people are shocked that that 3 blue states put in blue people. I mean, really, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is her with Barry right there. You know, I think she had Big Mike on stage at one point too. So,
you know what I started to realize is I know you're what, a decade older than I am, AJ.
Yeah, I'll be 45 here in a couple months.
Okay. What I started to realize is if I take YouTube out of it and I just say over the past decade, maybe decade and a half, what were hobbies turned into monetized content. And now with politics, it's kind of like the last vestige of monetized content people can do because everything is so saturated. And what I've seen with, like, I don't have TikTok, but TikToks that I've seen with all these elections, I don't know if it's a high school mind virus or not maturing into adulthood. But if you understand how I mean that, it's this high school mentality being part of a clique or a cool club or not trying to be outside the popular circle, where you have to continue to make content to uphold stupid ideology.
Yeah.
Because if you actually grow a brain, it's,
Well,
you think you're better than us? And again, all these people that are elected, like Mamdani, the one thing that bothers me, I'm not from New York. My mom's from New York, and she's from Buffalo. And most of the people from North New York, dude, they don't like him. Most of it is small town.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me is that you have, there was a poll that was like 18 to 29-year-olds, 70-80% of the females voted for Mamdani.
Yeah, 84%.
Right. And so you sit there and it's okay. I've been to the Middle East plenty. I've been to the Horn of Africa. I've been multiple places. And what's nuts to me is that you have no idea what you vote for.
Yeah.
And this is it's where Andrew Wilson comes into it. He's like, I don't believe everybody should have the ability to vote.
Yeah.
And it's coming to a realization to me that one thing that should be implemented is that once Mamdani starts doing his stuff in New York, you're going to have more people flee than the 1.4 million. What should happen is that if you flee a state that you vote for policy that's continuously failing, wherever you move to, which is most of the time a conservative state, is that the state is pushing an abstinence towards you to vote for 2 years and then take a civics test based on what the state's economy is. And if you fail it, you don't have the right to vote until you pass that test. Because what's happening is that it's like a locust. They vote for garbage policy and then they move to a different state and then they vote for the continuously policy because it makes them feel good.
Because they're sheep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And it's mildly annoying because the people that get hurt in the end are regular Americans, and it's just disappointing.
But it's women
Californians
that are
did this for
messing the
decades.
country up and expect us men to fix it. That's just the thing, guys. Once again, they're always so lackadaisical about politics, about money, about all this stuff, because they expect the men to swoop in.
Here I come to save the day.
But I guess that answers your question of why men move outside the city, because they want to move as far away from them as they can.
It's true.
I know I'm a little bit late. I don't know if you guys brought this up or not, but they tried rent control in New York back in the 70s and it failed abysmally. So, as I said in the Discord, they voted for this. Let them enjoy it. I don't know why people are getting all bent out of shape about
Oh
it
no,
because
guys, I'm happy he got elected. What is it? Some men just like to watch the world burn. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
that's me.
exactly.
There's gonna be so
And-
many memes where he's gonna be in replace of the Joker.
Yeah.
For stuff.
Right.
Sure.
But then, as was alluded to about people moving out of state, that Californians have done that for years.
Yeah.
You guys were younger when they were, when we went up to dry dock in Washington. I remember on the news that if people up in Oregon or Washington learned that you were a transplant from California, and that doesn't count us military people, I'm talking people who fled California, they get phone calls left on their answering machines, and they played them on the news where people were saying, "Get your ass back to California. We don't
Good.
want you here."
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's how Montana and Idaho are right now. In
Yeah.
a lot of places in Texas, all these people from California.
Well, you should have
New
state
Hampshire and
pride.
Mass are like that too.
That's the thing. People think about nationalism. I'm like, well, people have state pride too. And
That's
if you're
right.
going to come in and you absorb, so if I'm not going to, I live in Wisconsin, so our taxes, our tax benefits we give to those that are on welfare are pretty substantial because we have a lot of business from the Great Lakes here. And what's funny is that
a
we've
lot of people moved to Wisconsin in the
Yes.
80s because the welfare was so generous.
It's true.
and it sucks because I'm living, and here's the thing that so I'm not against Asian or Hispanic or anything, but why is it that the more I'm sitting here and it's like, yes, do I know Middle Eastern, do I know some Hispanic like languages? Sure, but at the end of the day, I'm sitting here saying, dude, I live in America. I want to speak a language so I don't feel insulted when people are sitting and speaking a different language. I'm not in France. I'm not in Germany. I'm not in Poland, not in Mexico. I'm in America. And it's a harsh reality of a simulation where people don't know the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. You have one nation under God, but yet it's, oh, we're multiple nations. No, we're one.
Well,
and if you
well,
can't
It's a
understand
melting
that,
pot.
Oh yeah,
And-
this one person back. So when I was in Ireland, was like, he was a British guy. You guys have that Pledge of Allegiance. That's weird, right? I'm like, you guys have a monarch. That you guys' national anthem is "Let Him Reign Over Us." You don't think that's weird?
Yeah.
You don't think that's odd that there's a person or a family that you think that the Creator made better than you guys? That's a little odd, isn't it? You know.
Yep.
So,
and this is where when you have Americans, and there's a lot of liberals that have fled to Mexico or Canada, but you even have like kind of men that are fed up saying, "Oh, I'll go live in other countries." Oh, you know what I say? Good, because if you're not in it to win it through the hard times, why would I want you back when it's better?
true. Yeah, and I like how the one girl, this girl, she said, "All you Americans who think that you're gonna flee to Japan." It's like, Japan's more conservative than America. He goes, most of the places where you girls want to go are way more conservative. What are you talking about? So, on.
Zohran Mamdani not wasting any time on his first day as mayor-elect of New York City. He announced his transition team of all women and is now looking forward to
Look at
They are cooked.
Cooked. Guys.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
All lesbians.
Cooked, dude.
And remember, this is what I'm trying to say is that it's all a fad. It's all this is like networking and knowing your people. They don't know politics. They don't know economics. And here's a sad thing, man. Like, it's starting people to realize, especially men over the past decade, that you didn't need to go to college to read a book, to know economics, to read history or theology or find religious virtue. You can be a simple man doing trades like myself, and you can read for the past decade and a half, and you're way smarter than a college grad, but yet you have people that may have cheated in college for the past 2 decades, and yet they get a prestigious job, make $200 grand a year, dumber than a doorknob, but yet they're like, hey, we earned this position. No, you earned it because you knew somebody. And this is where the whole merit based needs to come back hard, even in regular business, because the work ethic of ambition or perseverance is failing, because it's like, oh, so I just have to know somebody to get this job or be a woman or DEI. What's the point of trying?
Or they instead of doing value creation, they're just going to do like drop shipping or some type of scam. Like that is their idea of wealth creation, is how can I basically do a scam and just get as much money as possible and not create any value. Like people actually want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking office in 57 days. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim with the advice outgoing Mayor Adams is giving his successor.
A great New Yorker once said that while you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose.
From Victory Night.
Gay!
To day one of his transition.
The poetry of campaigning may have come to a close last night at 9, but the beautiful prose of governing has only just begun.
Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani echoed a mantra made famous by former New York Governor Mario Cuomo, the father of the man he upset in last night's election. And with that, under the Unisphere today in Flushing Meadows Corona Park in Queens, the most diverse county in the nation, Mamdani announced his all-female transition team. Among the 5 members, Maria Torres Springer, Mayor Adams' widely respected former deputy mayor, who resigned over Adams' dealings with President Trump, and the former chair of the Federal Trade Commission.
And I know that Zohran has the vision and courage to make sure that we can actually deliver.
And there is a lot of vision Mamdani is promising to deliver.
He really doesn't understand what are the legal limits on the mayor.
Political experts say universal daycare and free buses may prove challenging, but building more affordable housing and freezing the rent on stabilized units are realistic goals.
If you have 5 things, you don't get it done. You've got to have at the most 2 things, because while you're trying to implement your vision of something new and exciting, you still have to deliver basic services for New Yorkers.
Then there is Washington.
Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
And now let's see how it gay communist does in New York. We're going to see how that works out. And we'll help him. We'll help him. We want New York to be successful. We'll help him a little bit.
That was the president in Miami today, lowering the temperature a tad from the rhetoric on the campaign trail. The president also said Mamdani should reach out to him.
He needs to go to Washington, D.C. and sit down with the president and say, here are the needs of my city. You have to put all of that anger behind you.
Yeah, they're going to need a bailout.
I know, right? Who was saying something?
So that lady that was speaking earlier, and this is what I've been pointing out to the guys on Discord, that everybody was all, oh my God, Mamdani won the mayorship. Oh my God. He doesn't have absolute power. He still has to get stuff through the council. And like she said, they still have to provide basic services. So he can sit here and promise a whole bunch of free stuff. But when the when the rubber meets the road, he's probably going to end up falling flat on his face, and he's going to figure out, oh, I really don't have any idea how the hell to do things here.
Yeah.
He's just sit back and laugh. Just get popcorn, guys.
Here's the other thing that kind of made me happy that people voted for Mamdani is, for the people that came out and voted for Cuomo, it's like, you guys are lost. You had a great opportunity. I forgot the dude. He was from like Bronx or something.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, the guy who looked like Rambo's.
Yeah, he had a.
Oh, he's one of the guardian angels.
Yeah.
But
I think he's a chill though. But he said he got offered $10 million. He should have taken it.
But I sit here and it's like, look, he had a grand opportunity, and people are like, well, and Trump was backing Cuomo. It's like, look, we need to stop peddling and be conservative or Republican or independent and say, no, Cuomo, have your supporters back this other guy, because you failed and you put people in nursing homes and killed people during COVID. So it's like,
cough, please.
And it's like, why don't you have the priority of not voting for Cuomo again.
Yeah.
And so this is, and again, this is a problem. It's like, oh well, if we didn't do Mamdani, it'd be Cuomo. Well, Cuomo was worse too. It's the betterment of two evils.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have, because was it Cuomo got, hold on, let's see. How do I share this? You can see
Speaking of Cuomo, remember how he had allegations against him for
Yeah.
touching a woman? That's going to happen to
Queen,
Mamdani.
this breaking
yeah.
news, this just
That-
in, a political upset.
So if everyone would have just went over here, if all these idiots would have just gone over there, look at the difference.
That was
Yeah.
expected in New York City. 34-year-old Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, think of this. There's how many people in New York, and only this many people voted.
I know, that's what my first thought was. Wow.
Crazy, huh?
Wow.
Maybe the people are too worried about packing their bags and leaving.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. Michael's right. You guys know that he has a built-in excuse for messing up New York. Oh, it was all the Democrats' fault. I mean, sorry, it was all the Republicans' fault. It was all Orange Man's fault. You know, as he's friggin' having all these scandals and embezzling money and all this other stuff, right? What an absolute joke. You know? Guys, I'm all for it. You know, I really am. Guys, get out of New York. Get out of there. If you live there now, guys, the best thing that you can do, put on an eye patch like Snake Plissken and get the hell out of there. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say a good movie for the weekend would be Kurt Russell, Escape from New York. That would have been good.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Yeah, guys. I mean, I hate New York anyways. You know, I don't like going there. I don't like being there. People annoy me, you know. But people, they like the bright lights and all of this other stuff. So I don't. Yes,
Sometimes the healing process requires some pain, so like this could be actually a good disruption in a way, to give them a wake up call.
Yeah. Hold on. If rent and utility prices freeze. Here we go, guys.
Controls tomorrow. Joining us is Art Laffer, former Reagan economist, E.J. Antoni, Heritage Foundation chief economist.
Is that the crypt keeper? Right there?
Art Laffer, why is that bad? Rent never goes up, for the next 100 years. Why is that bad?
Well, it's bad because there'll be no apartments left for anyone to rent other than you, Larry, and that's the real problem, is that no one will want to build the buildings and rent buildings when you can't make a return on them and a market rate of return. That's simply it. And you saw what happened when Milei eliminated rent controls in Buenos Aires, the rents came way down, and the apartments that came flooding on the rent and availability there. It was the perfect thing. The reverse was what the guys before had done. It just makes no sense. It never has worked. The beautiful People's Republic of Santa Monica, if you'll remember that.
Yeah.
With Ruth Yanata Goldway.
Cooked, right? Cooked. You know? Guys, I have a lot of background noise coming from someone. I don't know who it is. So if you can mute until you talk, there's something going on. Yeah, guys, he'll be governor. He'll be mayor on New Year's Day. And then, guys, when do you think the first scandal is going to be? How long into 2026 do you think it'll be?
Probably not till summer.
March.
Yeah.
Late
I would give it 6 months. You know what I'm saying? About 6 months. So, because just see all the TSA workers that are quitting or whatever, because not getting paid. So
I'm not surprised.
Not at the front desk anymore at the TSA. Look at this, guys.
Just air traffic controllers.
She can get it. How you doing?
All right.
I don't know about this lime green thing she's got going on
That are working without pay right now. Tonight, I talked to a TSA officer who is deeply impacted by this shutdown.
I'm still considered a newbie.
Martina Santana has been a TSA officer for 4 years, and it's a job she is proud of.
Everybody wants to work for a federal government job because it's stable, it's steady, it's good money, it's it's a good job.
But that stability has become shaky as the government shutdown is now the longest in U.S. history, meaning for the past 36 days, this single mom of 3 has gone without a paycheck.
All of us were like that the first couple of weeks. So we're saying, okay, first 2 weeks, we're gonna, we can do that. We can do that. We got some money saved up. We can do that. The second paycheck that we didn't get, I think that's when it started hitting me.
She's had to pull money out of her thrift savings plan, a retirement plan for federal employees. Then 2 weeks ago, an eviction notice.
I normally pay half my rent with one check, pay my car, my other bills with the other one, and then I catch up on the third month. It's always like every third month I have to split it up. And this month I gave him the letter that we were supposed to get.
Would help having a husband.
Yeah, not having 3 kids.
Yeah. Everyone's laughing. Guys, they expect us to feel bad? Seriously? Right? This is what they asked for, guys, right? This is what they asked for. Shit.
Give, and nobody, not one of my bill collectors, not one of my car payment, not one of my anything except that it can do anything for me.
She's talking about this letter from the Department of Homeland Security asking organizations to give federal employees grace.
They do have like a job fair at the airport. I picked up an application for another job.
As she navigates
You better drive Uber. What are you doing?
these hardships, she's still showing up for work, even working overtime, as some of her colleagues struggle to.
They're coming to the point where if I'm not feeling good, I'm not coming in. If I don't have gas, I'm not coming to work.
Air traffic controllers are also not being paid right now. And when there's a shortage of controllers at airports, it leads to flights being delayed. The head of the Air Traffic Controllers Union now expressing concerns about how long this could continue.
Air traffic controllers are showing up to work every day to deal with issues that we've never seen before. 36-day shutdown. The stresses, the pressure, the fatigue is setting in.
Santana is trying to maintain a positive attitude for herself, her coworkers, and her kids, hoping the shutdown ends soon, but committed to keeping travelers safe in the meantime.
Lock the bounty hunter. What's up, dude? What's going on, man?
Sup, yo?
How do you feel
What's going
about commie Mamdani getting elected in New York?
I quote Tyler Durden. I am Jack's complete lack of surprise. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen Escape from New York, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it like one step closer. Like, honestly, I am.
Speaking of Mamdani.
I am not surprised in the slightest. The what is it? The AG for Virginia, not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah.
It's just like I saw this coming. I did.
Steve says,
look at the show up.
Mondami is actually a gynocentric vote in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a woman though.
I mean, when you think about it, it's like, look at the freaking options. Like, it's like I took a look at the options for who was running and who had the best chances, and it's like I imagine waking up in bed and seeing like a map.
Uh-oh, your microphone's acting up, dude. Oh, Locke, where'd you go? Huh? Is it just me, guys?
No,
that's how I feel about.
Locke, you cut
that's
out.
how
Dude.
I feel.
You cut out, man. Your microphone's cut out. Well, while he's getting that fixed, Steve says, if they don't show up, will they get fired? I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for the $2, man.
Seriously. Garlic croutons, dude.
Let me see.
Just a second.
Here we go, guys. Look at this.
The effect of Mamdani in full swing with nervous New Yorkers turning Florida into a real estate hotspot yet
There you
again
go.
as they look to flee south. Fox Business writing the following, quote,
Can you blame them, right?
Election anxiety in New York City has turned into a real estate windfall in South Florida, West Palm Beach and Miami, surpassing New York City as the world's fastest growing wealth hubs. One Florida developer also saying his company has closed more than $100 million in signed contracts from New York buyers just the past few months. Real estate experts Dolly and Jenny Lenz join me now. Hello, Dolly.
Look at these dunderhead 304s.
Hello, Jenny, as well.
Good morning.
Dolly, what are your clients telling you following Mamdani's big win?
Well, certainly Wall Street got the message, right? Because they're all leaving in droves, building lots of buildings in Dallas. They've been
I told you guys, Dallas, Atlanta, Austin, Miami, Orlando. Guys, Wall Street doesn't have to stay on Wall Street, right? What's going to stop, Outlaw Korg and hell yeah, from just packing up with firing all their employees in Manhattan and then grabbing all the computers and everything and then opening up an office in Dallas? Or just bringing their top guys down with them. Nothing.
Well,
all these
because believe me, especially the Frisco area, they will give you some very generous incentives to relocate here if you commit to hiring a certain number of people.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the people that voted for this, they need to, stay right where they are. Don't move to any other state. Lie in the bed that you voted for.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
building in Tennessee, building in Florida. So the business people have gotten the message and are implementing action plans to counter it.
Good.
Individuals have less choice. They have to have a job where they work where they work, and they have to stay in New York perhaps. They can't just move to Florida. They don't have a job there.
Jamie Dimon says you have to be in the office 5 days a week. You're in the office 5 days a week. The other Fortune 100 companies, you have to be in the office on average 4 days a week. So you can't really just up and move like you could over COVID. But people are moving to Florida in droves. They are moving to Texas, where there's opportunity.
Let's talk a little bit more about Texas for a second here, Dolly.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to talk a little bit more about Texas.
Let's not. I can't look at their faces anymore. I just can't. We got, here you go.
The story comes up Financial Times. Miami realtors pitch safe spaces for millionaires fleeing Mamdani's New York. I'm coming to you with this one, Barry. So if you want to pull up this video, Rob, I think you got a video on this one here. Let me go to this one. I'll read it, and then we can turn over to the videos. Cash in on what award for being the best broker of the year. Toledano is one of several Miami-based developers hoping
All Florida realtors say they've been contacted by New Yorkers already looking to move to the Sunshine State if
she can get it,
God damn.
Yeah, look at her, man. Look at
Her
that.
pair of titties make you want to stand up and beg for buttermilk.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
That's
her
what I'm talking about.
legs.
How you doing?
Is she wearing pantyhose, or is that her legs are white as paper?
I think she's probably wearing pantyhose.
Oh,
She got
some cans on it, though.
Yeah, she got some big kneecaps though. You see that?
Yes. Now yeah, can you guys hear me?
Self-described
Yeah.
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. We fixed it.
Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani is elected mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
CBS News Miami's Bree Buckley looks into it.
A lot of people are worried.
Isaac Toledano is the CEO and founder of BH Group Miami, a high-end real estate development firm. He says the race for mayor in New York City,
So he makes a lot of money, guys. He makes a lot.
could impact South Florida.
We already see a lot of New York buyers and their brokers and agents and representatives already looking to buy real estate and getting information.
His clients say they're worried if self-described Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani is elected mayor, that crime will rise as well as taxes. He campaigned to lower the cost of living for the working class, proposing a rent freeze and free bus service, partially funded by raising taxes 2% for top earners. Mamdani has been leading the polls against
Stop it right
Republican
because it's official now. So what do you think?
Guys, what do you think?
Yeah.
That's one at a time. Locke and then Secret.
Yeah, New York's done. It's just done. Like we actually during the Koofy Koof, we actually saw something similar happen in the San Francisco Bay Area during the shutdowns. You had this massive exodus of people, and pretty much all of the tech guys, all of the people, the top earners, they saw the writing on the wall. So they went to Montana, they went to Wyoming, they went to freaking Texas and Florida. They fled. We're going to see the same thing in New York City. It's going to happen.
Yep.
secret.
Yeah, because in this day and age, people are becoming more location agnostic. It's so much easier to become mobile and relocate. We're not tied to these areas anymore, and and at the end of the day, this is what we need to start doing: voting with our wallets.
That's true.
Well, even if you look at the investment side with Florida, is that if you paid attention to the real estate for the past year and a half, Florida's been actually hurting because it's gotten relatively expensive and or it's hard for people to sell their homes or even for people to move there. With this transition that's happening in New York, it's actually going to inhibit bigger incentive for Florida to make it more not affordable, but more like here's some benefits to move to Florida. So it's like New York's going to lose, let's say conservatively, because they say 1.4, let's just say 700,000. And 10% of those are actually the top 1%ers, and they bring their businesses to Florida. That incentive push to the real estate in Florida will actually gain their market value back of what they've been losing for the past couple of years. Florida's going to be a steam engine of a state. And New York, I guess from the vestiges of what was, they're going to make a new, and maybe once all this transition period is done in New York, they'll actually make a better state.
Well, it greatly the morale of wanting to start a business and become rich as all get out in New York is done. It's over.
Sure.
If you're wanting to be rich. And by the way, Trump being one of the biggest billionaires in New York, owning I don't know how much real estate and whatnot, that was directed at him straight. So I don't know if Trump leaves New York or
he resides in Florida. He has some of his bigger businesses in New York.
Yeah, his Mar-a-Lago is where he lives, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the way that this goes down, I don't know if Trump continues to do business. He might. I don't know. But it's going to hit him a lot harder now if it goes through.
Well, again, the same way I said the rejuvenation in New York, because when Rudy Giuliani and Trump came into New York in the 80s and 90s, when he was pretty much the bad vestiges from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, they had to revamp New York for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
Which, again, if this same transition period happens again for Mamdani and New York falters and businesses leave, just like what happened when Rudy Giuliani and Trump came in, all the businesses left, and it actually brought businesses back. You could actually Trump get his namesake back after the presidential career. He might be back into business again and rejuvenate New York.
Possibly. Trump is like what, 78, 79 now?
Yep.
And so we're talking about what, another 2.5, 3 years until the next election. Dude's gonna be 80.
Well, I'm not gonna say him. It's for his namesake and for Eric.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's possible, but the thing is just it's different times now. Like the Giuliani era, I mean, that was a completely different time. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen to New York City, but I feel like somebody took a hand grenade, threw it in a pressure cooker, threw the pressure cooker in the microwave, and then put it next to a powder keg that's duct taped to an atom bomb. Something's going to happen, and it's probably not good.
You guys remember Angel, who used to call in a lot? He was from New York, and he had to leave. Angel, he was 60 or 61, so he lived in New York his entire life, and he had to leave. He said even the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, it's gotten so bad. And then with the migrants, it might as well be that it's almost pre-Giuliani levels in some places. You guys remember that they had the National Guard in the subways?
Guys. Yeah, like when they did it, it was progressive. But if we see them on the streets in the middle of something that's on fire, then it's either tyrannical or it's the decree of the king. It really just depends on the day of the week.
Yeah. Jeff, man, thanks for handing out a membership. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for that. Now, guys, once again, if you're old enough to remember how New York looked in the 80s, in the 90s, You know what I mean? Like New York wasn't this tourist attraction where like everyone goes to Times Square and takes pictures and there's a naked cowboy or whatever. No, no, guys, there was spray paint, there was gang members. You guys remember the Warriors? You know, that's how New York looked. You know,
if you
and then
want-
Giuliani turned it around.
Yeah, if you really want to get a good depiction of what New York was like back before Giuliani, watch Taxi Driver.
Yeah, yep, that's true.
It was Taxi Driver, pretty much. And like the thing is, we are not the thing is, this is going to be weird because Mamdani said that he wants to pretty much disarm the public, which is funny because the last time I checked, gangbangers and mafiosos, they're not the types of guys to go, oh, wait a minute, the mayor is saying we got to give up our fully automatic illegally obtained firearms. Oh, well, I guess we better do it. I mean, if the mayor says so. It's gonna get loud. I think it's gonna get louder.
Well, and what people fail to realize is that even if you look in the history, I just had a debate about this where if a good example kind of is gangs in New York, when the Italians, Germans, Polish, and the Irish, especially the Irish and the Germans, it took the Irish 120 years to assimilate. And I'm Irish, like most of kind of some family trees can be pushed into New York or most of the East Coast. And what's funny is that it took a long time of assimilation just from European nations to become an American, to recognize what it is to be American. This is why there's grit and pride, and a lot of foreign nations are like, oh, you guys are too prideful. You have foreigners that came here within the past 4 to 8 years, not assimilated. The one thing that actually corrected others is that we had the Italian mob, we had the Irish mob, you had niche communities with even gangs, but each of those had their own cultures. But all of them were arrested. Rudy Giuliani arrested the Italian and the Irish mobs. And what's happened is that what infiltrated it now? Foreigners. Russian, Ukrainian,
The Russians,
Korean.
Ukrainians,
Yeah.
The Romanians. Yeah.
It's-
And
it's-
those guys
so
were
there's-
playing.
so there's no-
Yeah, you could also say that the Irish for a long time weren't allowed to assimilate either.
Well,
You
it's
know what
not
I mean?
until the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
The Irish weren't
yeah.
looked at as
But guys,
regular whites.
It's so funny because I'll say this again. America, Canada, and New Zealand and Australia are the only places on earth where there's no ethno-national standard, meaning anyone can come here and be American. But all of us can't go to Mongolia and then be Mongolian, or go to Poland and be Polish because there's an ethno-national standard. My point is, we actually have the lowest barrier of entry for calling yourself an American. Come here legally and assimilate. That's all we ask. There's no you have to metamorphosize and be ethnically Polish. No, that's not how it works. And people still can't do it right. It drives me nuts. And then also too, did you guys know that while the United States while we don't have a federal religion or federal language, the states could make a state language and a state religion if they wanted to?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but they just don't.
I think Utah was trying to do something like that.
But then they like threatened them somehow. But all the colonies at the time had religions.
It was
and I
like
believe-
Puritan for the most part.
Yeah, but and then once they had first become states, if I'm not wrong, they had religions and then just kind of phased that out over time, you know. But yeah, this whole thing about being American, guys, we don't really ask for much because we have a national identity and then we go by races and not ethnicities. Ethnicities don't really matter in the United States like how it does in Europe or Asia or whatever. We go by nationality and standard, and then you're either black or Asian or white or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that makes things really, really simple. And these dunderheads still can't do it right. And people go, well, it's just so hard to become an American citizen. You know what? Things that are really good, things that are really great are worth working for. It's supposed to be really, really hard to
Well, they don't want to. There's a difference. They don't want to.
the last time I checked, you're not entitled to be an American.
That's true. Oh, and another thing, you aren't entitled to be able to come here. You're a refugee if there's a ethnic cleansing or a war. You can't be a refugee because your kind of country's poor. That's not a. It doesn't say that in the charter. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean,
Outlaw. Let Outlaw go. He was saying something.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no! All I was going to say was I saw somebody writing in there a while ago about how, all it's going to do is move businesses down to Texas and Florida. It kind of scares me because usually where you see smoke, you see fire, and I hope that it doesn't attract people like this. What's his name? Mondi. What's his name?
Mon
Doofus.
Mon.
Yeah.
His name is
because usually
Mon Kami. That's what I call him.
He's a stinko pinko.
Because usually how you see these things play out, and you're seeing it in Texas right now with the Californians moving out because of Newsom's, bull crap policies and all that. Hopefully Florida and Texas don't further turn into what you see New York and California turning into, but leadership.
Idaho and Montana, they're like, hold on. Montana.
Yeah. No, it was funny during the mass Bay Area exodus. Like these guys, like you want to talk, it's like these Californians, these Bay Area Californians with extreme leftist politics ended up leaving, and like you want to talk
town.
Yeah, they would go to these cities in Idaho and Montana, and the residents would be furious with them because it's like, guys, you are not assimilating into our culture, into our way of life. You are bringing your way of life here. You are driving up property values so we can't afford to live in our own homes, and you can't even bother to embrace our culture, our state culture. You are trying to turn our homes into California, and you left California because California was California.
This is where the relativism of money comes in handy. Like as I was saying, from the Midwest here, and we had a lot of Californians move to the Midwest, and it's kind of nuts because we had, again, modest homes that are $400,000 or $500,000 in other states, or 180, 200,000 here, where now it's instead of 200, they're 280, 300. So most of the median income, you're outscaled by at least 40, 50,000 within inside your budget of buying a house, on top of the politics that they vote for. And I'm sitting here like, look, this isn't manageable. And this is, again, why I had stated where I'm in favor for the state making an abstain of the person who moves to a new vote of where they flee from. So you don't vote in that new state for at least 2 years and take a civics test of that state you move to. And if you don't pass it, you don't vote. Because if you don't understand the economics of the state you move to, why should you have the entitlement of moving to a different state? That's the whole problem.
Okay,
But they won't implement that. It's the only thing.
I got a question. What you just proposed, is that considered tyranny or some type of phobia or ism? Which one is it?
It would probably
it's logicism, you pig.
Technically, it would be some sort of tyranny because then you wouldn't be a United States. But if we were talking, if that were to pass, we are in a soft division in this country, let alone. So it's like, again, if you vote for policies that makes you flee because you're too much of an idiot to recognize of which policies you vote for, why should I, as another state or other citizens of that state, absorb you to make you vote for continuous policies that do not make sense and actually inhibit our property tax or the ability to live life? It makes no sense.
Well, Thomas Jefferson is face palming right now. Thomas Jefferson is face palming. It's like, you guys.
Well, that's technically the whole reason why us MGTOW advocate for repealing the 19th Amendment, because most of those women don't even understand what they're voting for in the first place.
They can't even spell federalism.
I'll give you an example. MGTOW law. By the way, I like the name. One thing that what I saw is that there's an interview that kind of went around. I don't know if you did it, AJ, but I know a few did. And they're doing an interview in New York, and there's this maybe late 20s, early 30s dude, kind of feminine looking, with a girl. The guy goes up to him and he's like, "Do you believe illegals should be deported?"
Oh,
the guy's
yeah.
like, yeah,
saw
and
that.
right when the girl did a disdain look, or she, you know, did a little angry pose, and the guy
How
asked him
dare
that
you.
question again, he's like, "Well, I don't know," and I was like, "This is where it's not only women, but we need a revamping of all voting. We need a revamping of everyone."
Let me see if I can find that.
And to go along with your point, I also agree that there's some men in this culture that shouldn't be voting. There's some people that shouldn't be
Oh,
driving.
hell yeah. Yeah.
There's some people shouldn't be driving. There's some people that shouldn't own. Well, that's a whole nother discussion. But
Like one thing that I
Hey,
like
don't
that-
be too tyrannical now. Come on now.
like one thing, and I know I'm going to be some type of ism for saying this, but we really need to bring back literacy tests for voting, because when we take a look at the current generations right now, we have actually seen reading levels on the decline over
they
like the
cannot
last.
read.
Yeah, it's like we got
Sixth
high
grade.
school graduates.
Sixth
Like I
grade.
think it was like what in Baltimore, because of course it is, that there was this high school in Baltimore where the valedictorian had like a 1.8 GPA.
Yep.
And that was like the highest grade, and they were proud of that. And it's
And
like
Baltimore spends the most money on their education too. Isn't it funny how that works?
hey,
You
can we figure out? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you can't just throw money at these problems. You just can't. You know?
Sure, you can, so long as they're not the ones paying.
Well, last stat I looked at, New York is around 40 to 42,000 per kid that they spend.
Damn.
But they're reading. So, however they do the data poll with economics, science, math, and I think it's arithmetic, they're at sixth grade level. And what's scary to me is that it's not only the voting, and it's not only civics tests, because this is a bigger issue. This is beyond the individual. This is beyond parenting. It's the government at mass that encourages complacency, and you could say degeneracy, but I would say complacency in general, where it's like, hey, look, you can't do it for you, so we will. And I'm sitting here, and it's like, and again, this backtracks to where we had stated before, why are men more have an aptitude to go and buy land 30 minutes away from the city? Because generally most men, want to be self-reliant, self-determining, have more discernment, and grow up their wife and their kids on their own and do it on their own. What's nuts is that why is it we were making programs to uplift those that can't take care of themselves by burdening others that actually can by higher taxes? That has never made sense to me.
It's vote buying pretty much. It's
right.
It's effectively like, because like what they're doing is they're pretty much saying, if you do this, you will get free stuff. You will because you're oppressed. The reason why you can't get ahead in life is because the rich folk and the billionaires and the orange man and everything, it's because, and it's not like, no, it's not because, it's because rich people. And so if you want to get back at the rich people, vote for us and we will give you free stuff. And all it will cost you is stuff that you're not going to notice until it's far too late.
Yeah, well, it is what I've seen is that the Reaganomics of trickle-down economics failed because of TTP and NAFTA, and the Democrat side of unionizing failed of corruption of the top. So now what has happened is that you have the middle class from the 55,000 to the 110,000 paying the tolls of corrupt businesses that would rather ship jobs overseas of NAFTA and employ H-1Bs and illegals over Americans for competition of jobs. And then you have unionized, instead of uplifting those from the bottom, they would rather network and get their hands dirty and screw the younger generations, which is the longshoreman ideal that happened at the beginning of the year. So now it's like, where's any of the incentive now?
Sure,
because
very true.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's like you have an in-between of pick yourself up from your bootstraps. And even, again, I understand where Gen Z is coming from. It's like, they're not even there. It's like they're saying, what bootstraps? Millennials
exactly.
our
Well, guys,
millennials are like, we're running out of bootstraps.
Yeah, guys, this is all boomer dudes' fault, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, don't
And the
say
reason
the
why-
B word.
And the reason why is, I've talked about this once before. The silent generation, they,
It was all for naught.
Well, yeah, they set things up based on the traditional values and the that make society work, and
They
they
base it on
managed to
honor
make,
systems.
yeah, but they made that post-war boom to where they had all these kids and even raised their kids in the system that worked. What happened was, you guys know how like Disney got all that money, all that invested money during the cough, and they had a whole bunch of cash. So then they were like, oh, we can make a bunch of woke stuff. You know what I'm saying? When people get too much success too fast, you know what I'm saying? Or they have abundance. Once again, the arrogance and the ignorance of abundance. I keep saying that, right?
Yeah,
That's what the boomers had. They grew up with. Hold on. They grew up with in a time where there was all this abundance and all this everything, to where they thought that they just didn't need the norms and the relationships and the marriages and the
Woodstock
and things that made their parents be successful and raise them successfully. They thought, we don't need all this. So then they started doing things like you're letting all these broads get into the workforce and all this other crap that went against what got them there in the first place. Locke, you were saying something?
Yeah, I actually saw this interesting video. Like, when the boomers were born, like, you had all these war veterans coming home, and they saw the horrors of war, and they realized, like, the important thing is life. So we're going to create a bunch of children. We are going to nurture them because they truly are our future. And the boomers ended up being raised in this culture where they all believed that they were incredibly special and that they could do no wrong. And so when they go out in there, they believed that, they were better than everyone else. And so then you started having this Woodstock BS where, like they said, like they still pat themselves on the back for ending Vietnam when they didn't do jack. They didn't do a thing to end it.
They were the first generation to actually like leave home. So like boomers were the first ones where you would go away to college or you would go find a job in another city. But all this was going on from like 1955 until the oil embargo. Think about how good our economy was doing.
The golden era for 27 years.
Exactly. And they were enjoying all of that, but thinking, they're like, did anyone here either grow up with or go to college with, or whatever, a person whose family's rich and they have that one sibling that's like, I hate capitalism. Ah!
Yeah, while driving their freaking Mercedes.
Yes, that's how the boomers were. It's like they didn't realize that what they were railing against with the feminism and all of that is the very thing that got them to be able to enjoy a better, like, they grew up in such a time of economic prosperity. It's ridiculous. And this is everyone. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, even in the segregated areas. You know what I'm saying? Everyone it was peaceful. There was economic growth. Everything was just going well. And then the boomers took one look at that and said, this is wrong. Let's get rid of this.
Well, they had the one conversation topic that finally some of the discords I'm part of are bringing up, and it took at least over a year. And you actually looked at articles that I was trying to be a proponent for, was abortion. And what I'm actually getting at is that I'm not personally neutral, but I always take a neutral position of, I don't care if you're left or right on it. I look at it as a financial incentive, where over the course of 5 to 6 decades, we've killed 70 million Americans. Okay. Now, from the millennial side, it's close to 30 to 35%. So I'm a millennial, and I look at my own generation, and of course we make fun of our own generation, and we're like, man, we have a lot of pieces of garbage. But it'd be interesting to see what the extra 30 or 35% were to give.
That's true.
And then you look at, go ahead.
40% of all baby deletions are black, and black women
Oh,
are only
wow.
7% of the population. Think about that for a second.
And that's there.
40%.
And then you looked at Gen Z, and Gen Z there was close to 37%, and now they're coming out with polls of within the generations of how much do millennials abort, how much Gen Z, how much and then how much Gen Alpha would do. Gen Alpha estimated 70%. Okay.
Well, aren't they
So-
like half the size of millennials or
Yes.
whatever, or like Gen
Yes.
X?
And
Yeah.
that's what's worse is that this is
Look.
why the population rate's so bad.
Yeah,
And this goes back to the boomer conversation of like, look, the prosperity, the easiest way to look at it is that the prosperity of the individual is based on the fruit of your labor,
Yeah.
which most of the time it's your work ethic and your children. And where I've seen within boomers, I was growing up pretty hard, disciplined, and know all the canned food, hunt, all the things, right? I look within my own generation, maybe 30% know how to do this. Now I extrapolate that from the great generation, silent generation, great generation, boomers, X gens, millennials, and Gen Z. I look throughout all these generations, and why is it I always come up to a 30, maybe 40 percentile of a generation that actually gave a lick about the American prosperity, but 60% always were the drains or the leeches.
Yeah.
Ever since the 90s and the early 2000s, it kept losing a percent. And the reason why I say this is that there is less and less of a generation. So you have millennials, like out of millennials, I could say this wholeheartedly. Millennials, maybe 6 out of 10 actually care about work ethic. When I look at boomers and X gens, I tell you, I really get mad sometimes because for all the gripe that they give to boomers, they're no better either. And it's
Mhm.
like, again, it could be subjective, but when I look at boomers, it's like, look, brother, you had 27 years of the golden era and you're still broke. X gens, what did you learn from this?
But not just that, though. The boomers were the ones who set into motion a lot of this crap that's ruining society now. Think about it. The boomers are what told us Gen Xers, you have to go to college. They put stuff in all these women's head where they're getting all this debt. Oh, here. My own family, my mom, who enjoyed being married to my dad, who's a black, outgoing doctor, and she told my sister, "Don't be me. Don't get married. Men are trash." And my sister, who should have never ever been a 48-year-old single mom, who came from a 2-parent black professional family, where we were upper class, but the propaganda from the boomers, was somehow how they experienced things was totally wrong. The boomers, they were the first ones to think that they knew more than thousands of years of traditional gender roles and gender norms.
And the sick part is they still do. Like my
Facts,
biggest
yes.
my biggest beef with the boomers. I got an endless laundry list of the boomer generation, of the grudges that I hold against them. But one of the biggest ones is that, we're millennials here. We're over the age of 40, right? And these guys, these octogenarians are still in power, and they go, you still need to wait your turn.
Yeah.
I need to wait my turn. You're waiting for your freaking Jello.
Yeah.
Like, and
It's not only waiting their turn, it's the point that it's coming across where it's like, if the legacy was taught correctly, they would have enough respect to relinquish the duty of power or give it to the next generation.
Why would they give it up, though?
Right. And what it's showing, and this is the exact example I was giving, where you have the 70% against the 30% of the 30% of boomers that did actually good with their kids. You can tell here's the thing. You can tell the kids from boomers, the millennials, or maybe young Gen X. You can tell the boomers that taught their kids correct. You can. And you can call that discernment of those that aren't. And what's coming across presently is that all the sins of the fathers and the moms, especially the moms, are present day feminism in women. You're seeing it. You're seeing it very pleasantly. Well, let me rephrase, not pleasantly, disparagingly. And what is this creation of feminism that boomers created within younger women is creating MGTOW in men presently today.
That's true. Yeah.
And what is sad is that there's no causation correlation. They just want to do blame men, and it's like, no, this is my issue. This, and this. Okay, fine. Everyone's a degenerate. Fine, everybody is. They have sex before marriage, or the thing before marriage. Fine. Okay, let's look past that. Is there forgiveness that can go around? Yes. But what's left? There's still a massive ego list with women. Men don't have it.
Well, but one thing that these knuckleheaded feminists say, oh, you don't like misogyny? Well, misogyny is a response to misogyny. Yeah, well, if misogyny is a response to misogyny, then MGTOW is a response to misogyny. These women just don't see. The 1900s were all about racism and all this other stuff, and now the 2000s, I believe the defining issue of the 2000s. I don't know if it'll be the end here of 2000 to 2000 to 2099, right? Will be men's response to feminism. I'm telling you, this is going to be an issue until all of us on this panel are dead. Unless two things can happen. Two things: MGTOW and men minding their own business happens so much because, guys, men are checking out more and more and that's
every day.
Us winning. We're going to hit a tipping point. There's going to be 17, 20, 25% of men are going to check out, and what's going to happen, there's going to be a snowball effect, right? And society, we're going to create an artificial rock bottom. You guys watch Intervention?
Oh God! Oh man, that takes me back. The good old days.
They have to create an artificial rock bottom. That's what MGTOW is doing. Enough men are stepping away and saying no and creating an artificial rock bottom, or there's going to be some major war or some other cough style event. Because in times of crisis, there's going to be the traditional gender roles reassert themselves. But here's the thing, guys. Women expect men to still heed the call. Yep. What happens when there's a crisis or when that tipping point happens because so much MGTOW, and men just don't come back.
Yeah,
they just don't.
Yep. Well, and this is where I'm a proponent of. Most of you guys know the actor from Borat. He made a movie called Ali G is in the House. You ever see Ali G is in the House?
Yeah.
And you know the proponent of boost the British economy. You know what he did? If you remember, he said, "Bring in all the beautiful women from all the European nations." And so you had like this little snapshot picture of like beautiful women from Russia, Romania, Croatia, and it was like, "Go back to Slovenia," and it was some fatter girl. And I'm like, look, the only incentive if American women, which they just came out with that poll, what was it, maybe last month, and it was 60% of women 18 to 28 don't want to have any kids. Okay, Trump incentivize foreign women, which again, I believe that there should be a tax that if men want to have a family, they did the same poll, and the opposite percentage of men want to have a family and have kids. Even if you're in MGTOW, I would say men want to have children and a wife.
Yeah. Yeah, it's now, just it's our natural drive.
Right. And what it is, it's that, okay, if there's an acknowledgement of an incentive that the men want to work, have a family, have a tax incentive, not make a child tax credit, flip that child tax credit and turn it into a house tax credit of principal, where if you have one kid, 10% off the principal, 2 kids, 15%, 3 kids, 20%. Actually incentivize home buying at the same time of having kids, and bring foreign women that want to be nationalism within inside America. And this is where you bring in foreign women that are actually feminine, so, quote unquote, right? But right, and this is, and again, it's always a problem. But if it's not that, how are we? There's less and less women that are actually incentivized, unless you are $1 million man, to have a family. There's no sacrifice.
Outlaw, what were you saying?
Oh, I didn't say that, brother. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, like the problem with that is, I mean, we did see something like that, not with like the tax credits or anything like that, but we have heard stories of like these foreign women, these absolutely drop dead gorgeous bombshells from Eastern Europe, like Slovakia, Iceland, Russia, and stuff like that. They would totally like be the feminine woman, like the idealized, you know, dude's dream, right? And they would get with the guy and make him think that she's crazy about him. And then after they're married and then after she has a kid, boom, she does a 180 and goes full on psycho. And
then
you know,
the divorce comes, right?
The divorce comes, she gets the green card, she gets the kids, she gets the child support, she gets the alimony, and that was the plan the whole time.
And see, and you, sorry, AJ, go ahead.
The thing is, guys, once again, I'll ask these two questions. Guys, I need you to put a yes or a no. Question number 1. At your stage in life right now, especially you older guys, if you could go to a fertility clinic and get an embryo and then rent an artificial womb for like $1,500 to have a kid and raise the kid on your own, would you do it? Yeah, yes or no?
What do we post them for? 1 or 2 if we would.
Well, no, just on the panel, say yes or no.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Who else?
Yeah, I would say yes. I guess I'd say yes.
Okay.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one, just personally speaking for me. But yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I asked this question like 3 weeks ago, and the majority of guys said yes. Because to a lot of guys, the kid's not the bad part. It's the woman. It's having a kid with the wrong one. But once again, dude, if there's a lot of guys who, if they could just have a kid of their own and just raise the kid and not have to worry about the mom trying to turn him into a freaking transformer or all this other crap, you know what I'm saying? Like, the guys would be fine. Also, if they were to get rid of no-fault divorce tomorrow, would
you're crossing into ism territory.
You know? I'm just saying. A lot of guys, if they were to get rid of no-fault divorce to where, because remember, no-fault divorce happened in the 70s, right? And that's when secular marriage and religious marriage kind of split apart, right? Because it used to be, it was really hard to get a divorce. Because remember, churches oftentimes, they'll allow divorce, but it's bad. Like Catholics and other things, you have to really have a reason to be divorced. And the state was the same way. But the moment that they did no-fault divorce, what marriage and all this stuff, what's good for society and what's good for men diverged.
Well, and this is where I would be a proponent for, as much as Locke here and for yourself, AJ, that had stated that the divorce happened massively after no-fault divorce. Where I would be a proponent of, like, look, you get a divorce, you have to pay all that child tax credit back. For Locke, when I said when you have the incentive of the foreign women coming over here, well, you have to pay the furlough tax of the marriage, and if you get a divorce, it's annulled, and the child's born in America, so the kid's American, the kid stays with the man. There's going to be stipulations with this. It's not going to be we're trying to make it peace and easy. No, we tried that game for 4 or 5 decades. It didn't pan out. The new way to do it, if you get a divorce, you have to pay all those tax benefits back. I don't care if you have 4 or 5 kids and it's $150,000 over 20 years. You have to pay all that back because you failed in your marriage, you got a divorce, and this is the outcome.
Yeah.
Because we have to stop incentivizing all the benefits. But then when you get a divorce, you look past it like, oh, you just had kids. It's no. You failed at your marriage, you have to pay back those tax credits, because if the only incentive for those tax credit is only to be married for 18 years, dude, you're going to have, I think, again, what I've seen is people have taken advantage of that and just been married for 18 to 20 years, then get divorced, and they reaped all the benefit. And it's like, we have to actually look into all those statistics.
Well, the thing you guys see is that Kentucky 50-50 law, right?
Oh, yep.
What happened? Divorces went down like 30%.
Plummeted.
because it gave men some of the power back. If you
Well,
give men power back, then divorces will actually go down. It took power away from women. If you
I
take
disagree.
away no-fault divorce, no, seriously, think about it.
No, I disagree that, and what it did was it disincentivized.
Yes,
Exactly. It took women's because they're not in the power position anymore. Incentivized means that you're in a power position, right? Like they knew the courts would automatically be on their side. Therefore, there was an incentive, right?
Well, yeah, because
what I'm saying is that it took that away and divorce dropped. If you and guys, look, no fault divorce, I don't think that's ever going away unless
it's not. It's not.
Because guys, something in Kentucky made them do this. I think a lot of Kentucky dudes said to hell with this. So they had to sweeten the pot. Because if enough men do what we do, we showed Gillette. We taught them a lesson.
Yeah, I still don't buy Gillette.
Bud Light, right? We taught them a lesson, and now for them to get us back, they have to sweeten the pot. It's not going to happen, guys. Marriage has to be the same way. Marriage, having kids has to be the same way. So
there's really no, like, I don't see, like, I agree. I don't see no fault divorce going away. And also, like, this is one thing with what I've been doing with the stuff that I cover. I have actually seen a massive rise in two things with women when it comes to marriage and kids. The first one, when it comes to marriage, women. Okay, fine. Three things. No, but the first thing is I actually see like all of these pro no fault divorce idiots. They go online and when they talk about marriage, they automatically assume that the marriage is going to fail and that they should there's we should have starter marriages. So when we get to the real marriages, we're good to go. It's like, no, you don't get into a marriage assuming it's going to fail. You go in because you want the lifelong bond. But then like the other thing, and I don't want to go into a tangent on this, but we're also seeing these women, they have no faith in their marriages. They don't even have faith in their own children. Yeah. It's like these women, they go online and they freaking hate their own children.
This is where I believe that there should, people think it's like, well, the men should have it's not power of attorney. It's for your assets. What do they call it?
Trust. A trust.
No. Before you get married, if you're married to a bad
prenuptial agreement?
Prenup.
A prenup?
Okay.
Yeah.
Prenup. What I believe is that the state, everyone here is having enough common sense. I think the general public has it as well. Is that the state should afford prenups automatically for men and women. Okay. And if this were to be the cause, and what happened in Tennessee, or what was the state that you were saying, AJ, that
Kentucky.
did the
Kentucky.
Okay. So if this were to be the case, and as Grip was saying, it was like, oh, well, it was a de-incentivization. It was like, yes, it was, but it was incentive for men because it really showcased the women they were marrying.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And so what it is, it's that if the state would automatically do prenups, and yes, what Stevie did here with the DNA test, is that if they did both, the drop in marriage, in my belief, would probably be, dude, what was it? What was a stat that just came out at the beginning of the year? It was like 6 out of 1,000. I would guarantee that those marriages would drop to 3.
Yeah.
Because what would happen is that you'd have mandatory prenup from the state and mandatory paternity to really show which and what women want to get married.
Yeah.
That's the sad point.
Neo X Runner, real quick. That's Chibi. That's a Chibi of my full size avatar. He said it was funny.
But it's interesting because if men actually enjoy wanting to be a father or being married and have kids, which even in the MGTOW, a good amount of men do, it really goes to show that women nowadays get married out of vendetta, rather
Mhm.
than out of what they actually want.
Yeah,
They,
women
they
want
want the
the
opportunity. They
wedding
want
and
the
not
wedding, but not the
yeah, they want the wedding.
obligation.
But
Yeah.
guys, once
It's a
again,
status symbol. That's
guys,
all
and
it is.
this
It's a
is why
status symbol.
I say this. This might sound odd, but that's MGTOW and all this checking out is against our nature. That's how bad that things are with women.
Well,
Yeah.
Guys, men's nature is selfless and women's nature is selfish. Things have gotten so bad that our natural state is to sacrifice for our women and children and God and country, but it's gotten us to the point to where
Well-
guys are saying to hell with this.
I tell people this on my show all the time. I look at men who are still wanting to have families, and I tell them this: if you're willing to overlook, and again, we know a rough idea of how many women in this culture have diseases, right? Incurable STDs, all that. You have to go over that. You have to be okay with that, siphoning through the women that still have that, some that don't, right? Not every one of them does. Then you have to be okay with all of them being programmed with feminism from the time they're fetuses all the way up to their current age. Then you have to be okay with all the laws that are biased against you as a man right now in the culture. Are you okay with half your stuff being taken from you if you go to divorce court?
Yeah. And
No-
not
nobody
being
here
able
would
to
be
see
okay with
your
that.
kids, and then them probably moving some pervert into the house with your kids, and then he could actually stop you from seeing your kids. Guys, go to MGTOW Outlaws channel, sub to his channel, please, and then go to Lock the Bounty Hunters channel.
I was gonna tell you, AJ, in my disappearance, I'm the creation of a YouTube, and I made a Discord like a couple months back.
Nice, man.
And it's interesting because I only state this not because of I want following or nothing, but I've done MMA and youth group classes for the past year.
Yeah, nice.
And they're anywhere from 15 to 22. And what is amazing to me is that my gift of keep on giving of wisdom is only for those that are like, you have to be in the group to understand it as much as everybody here is.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, dude, the guys that are 16 to 21 are very like, it is uncanny. It took me years to understand this, probably until I was 28, 29. These kids that are 21 absorb this content and they're very aware of it.
Well, they grew up with it. Think about
Yes.
it. They were like 9, 10, 11, 12 during the cough,
Mhm.
right? And that's when, Top G and Kevin Samuels and all of them blew up. My nephew's 20 and he was like 16 back in like, 2020, etc. So he was living and breathing this stuff. But guys, I think I'm gonna shut this bad boy down. It's Anonymous. What's up, dude?
Hey, yeah.
How you
So,
doing? Any crazy stories at work today, Repo man?
Had a Tesla catch on fire and it took out 3 other cars with it.
What?
Oh no!
What happened? Is
Oh,
it-
man.
I think it's due to a lack of maintenance.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of people don't know, like these Tesla drivers, dude, they are the cheapest people I've met in my life. They do not want to maintain anything on these cars, and they don't realize how expensive they are to maintain. And they literally just drive them into the ground until they blow up.
Wow.
Not surprised.
Wow.
It's
That's
crazy. Yeah, no, I was sorry I missed the stream. Were you guys talking about the Dom who's in charge of New York City now?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Just
You know,
just follow the London mayor, and that's what you got in store for you.
I know, right? Yeah.
I don't realize how-
Yeah,
I don't
Mr.
realize
Sadiq Khan.
I don't realize how small this community is because I'm in Aaron Clary's Discord and I'm in Better Bachelor's Discord, and I'm trying to. I was gonna get back to you, Locke, but again, I'm busy. But
all good.
dude. It's kind of it is very amazing that inside all these communities, men's of all culture and creed dude, MGTOW is bigger than what I think women even realize. Or even
Yeah. It's not even, guys. Here's the thing, MGTOW. I call it men minding their own business.
Yeah.
Once you hit a certain, the term apathy is like no, I would say indifference. Like what MGTOW has become more of like an indifference to women than anything else now. It's not even like avoiding them. It's like you have guys where just women just don't even exist. Like it's like they're just walking around and they don't see them anymore. You know what I'm saying?
we have a term for that. It's called ghosting in plain sight. It's the same principle that you use when you want to vote with your wallet, right?
Yeah.
If you don't want to support a company, you don't buy anything. You don't give your energy to it. Same thing with women. You don't want to buy them. You don't want to have them around. You don't spend your money on them. You vote with your wallet and you let the culture steer that way. So,
But all right, you guys, I'm gonna shut the stream down, guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. Sunday, guys, I want to talk about vices and addictions and stuff. So we'll talk about gambling, drugs, alcohol, all that other stuff. And I'm gonna try and get Matt because Matt does counseling and stuff and kick the habit. So I'm gonna try and have you guys have a large group to talk about this stuff. So that'll be Sunday, guys. Yeah, guys. Once again, we're at 28K, guys. We're almost at 29.
Nice.
So
congrats, man. That is freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That is
You're
awesome.
going to hit 30K before Christmas.
I hope so, man. And guys, I'm going to have Red Talk Anna on the stream. She's a smaller content creator.
She's great. She's great.
She's a black woman, not a B-dub. Okay.
Yeah.
And guys, she comes for these B-dubs, and she even goes into their TikToks. So she's gonna be on maybe next week. I'll let you guys know. But all right, you guys, I appreciate you.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, homies.